Hello and welcome to Game Week 22 Deadline stream. We're live now and hopefully get involved from the chat. I already see that Lockie's there. Let's go, buddy. Obviously off to a really good start. Last week I had an amazing fixture. Can't complain at all. It's been super good. So I'm hoping that hopefully that can continue this week into Game Week 22 with some luck. So yeah, that's just me on a nutshell. I'm on a massive green arrow inside the top 18,000 teams. We're into Game Week 22, over halfway through the season. Last year, obviously, finished top 101K. So it's already an improvement on that, but it's just a matter of being able to keep it going now. So hopefully with some luck, I can actively keep it going. So yeah, lots of stuff to get into. There's been lots of news. So I suppose the best place to start is actually for the deadline decisions. Cheers, man. Thanks for the intro. I have been working on this, so that's just something I've whacked in literally this week since I've been back from holiday. And let's have a look at the deadline decisions for what we're going to be looking at this week, because it's going to be interesting. Lots of stuff to get into, lots of stuff to plan ahead for as well. So I'm just going to quickly load it up. Just looking for it here. Deadline day decisions. Yep. And all right, we should be into it now with some luck. Yeah, there we go. So the deadline decisions for today is, again, there's a bit of a captaincy decision, and I'm a little bit unsure about where I'm going to go with the captaincy this week. There's a lot of good options. I actually have it on Cole Palmer at the moment, and Phil Foden is actually my vice captain. Now, I'm a little bit concerned by Liverpool's form, and I've obviously watched him the last few games because I watched a game against Nottingham Forest where Chris Wood scored, and Forest are a really good defence, but I also saw them play Manchester United in the league, and if a team like Manchester United, who are struggling to beat Southampton at home, are giving you troubles in your home deck, that doesn't inspire me with a hell of a lot of confidence. So for me, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much form Liverpool are actually in, and which is kind of putting me off them a little bit. And obviously, I do want to triple up on them in Game Week 24. I have no interest in owning any Everton players for Game Week 24. Not going to lie. As far as I'm concerned, I think my team's looking pretty good for Game Week 24 in terms of the defence and things like this. Realistically, am I going to bring Mikalenko in, who's a 4.3 million option, to play him over Hall, Robinson, Timber, etc.? I mean, he could concede 4 goals to Liverpool, and then all of a sudden he's actually not getting 6 points. If they keep the clean sheet, that's even if they keep the clean sheet against Leicester in the other fixture in the Game Week 24. So Pickford's the only one that you would be even tempted to buy, but should you be wasting money on and transfers on goalkeepers? I'm not sure you should be. And I've already done that twice this season, and both times I've wasted transfers on keepers. I've had 3 clean sheets from my keepers all season long. And I've owned Becker, Raya, Verbruggen, and Henderson. And I can tell you that 2 of the 3 were Dean Henderson. I shouldn't have got rid of him. I should have just left him in. He's obviously got another clean sheet on the weekend as well. So, look, I wouldn't be wasting transfers on, that type of thing. But, it is what it is. Man, should I keep Watkins or sell him for Isaac? Oh, if you don't have Isaac, Semenyo, you need to get him in. Just do it. I know that it's going to cost you a bit of money because obviously Watkins is there. But for me, if you don't have Isaac, you're just taking a man on that has literally racked up 100 points in the last 7 weeks or the last 8 weeks, whatever it is. He's on an absolute tear. Newcastle look unbelievably good as well. So for me, you just got to get him in. You just got to suck it up at this point and just go, yeah. I'm going to have him because, I'm just so lucky that I've had literally all his points from when he started going ham against Liverpool. He came off the bench because Jackson didn't play that week against Southampton. And my God, how good was that Jackson missed that game? And here I am still holding Jackson. He's done absolutely nothing for pretty much the last 7 weeks. But I still think he's a really good hold. In terms of the yellow flags, we have lots of them. I'm going to pull up the screen in a minute with all the yellow flags that are on there. All of them are Chelsea players, but I'm not overly concerned because of the fact that they have the Monday night fixture at home to Wolves. Cole Palmer has only got a knock. I'm not expecting him to sit there and miss the game. I've actually still got him as captain, and I'm probably going to keep him as captain as well because I remember last season there was a game where Cole Palmer was yellow flagged, and it was against City or Arsenal or some other team like this, and he was in that massive run of form, and I just left the captain on him thinking he'll play. There's no way he's not going to play. He played and got it was one of them mega hauls as well, like a 15-pointer or whatever. I'm not concerned about that at all. Liam, do I start Colwell or Timber or buy Forrest? That is Liam, you have the exact same conundrum as I do. We're going to look into my team a little bit later. I am weighing up whether to buy Milenkovic this week instead of Colwill, because Colwill's obviously now yellow flagged, as we've just found out from Maresca's press conference yesterday. But for me, Colwill just doesn't offer anything from an attacking sense. Like he's got 1 assist for the season. He has literally no expected goal involvement per game. Like he's literally there for the clean sheets, and Chelsea just keep on finding ways of giving away goals. So for me, I at the moment I'm starting Colwill and Timbers on my bench, but I might swap that during this stream, or it might be that Colwill leaves my team for Milenkovic because I've got 2 free transfers at the moment. I'm quite happy to use one. And then I just roll with the rest. So, and then Milenkovic would play instead of Timber, essentially, because then he would become Colwill. So yeah, hopefully, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's definitely somewhere where I'm looking to go myself, being in that exact same position. I'm definitely starting Hall. I'm definitely starting Robinson. I'm not sure why people are rating them as poor. Yes, Newcastle have the Bournemouth fixture at home, and potentially they will concede, but I still think Newcastle are going to create more than enough chances there in order to pretty much see Bournemouth off, no problems at all. In terms of the Robinson one, like they've got Leicester away. I mean, we saw Robinson get 2 assists against West Ham for literally just passing the ball. It was the most jokest assist you've ever seen in your life. It was actually 2 of the biggest joke goals you've ever seen in your life as well. In terms of captaining, like obviously I got it slightly wrong. I did captain Bruno Fernandes last game week, and you know, it wasn't him. Like in reality, if you told me before the game, Man United against Southampton, that I'd get 28 points from Bruno captain and Ahmad, I would have said I'd take that. That basically means that Bruno got 10 points doubled and Ahmad got an 8. The fact that Ahmad got 20 and Bruno got 8, like that's just one of those things. But in reality, I was never going to be making Ahmad captain. I didn't want to make Salah captain. And then I looked at the other options. I actually thought Isaac wouldn't play, which is why I didn't go there. But in reflection, if I'd known that he was going to play, if Eddie Howe was actually a trustworthy manager in terms of giving up news updates, I would have captained Isaac and I would have got over 100 points last week. But it is what it is. I'm not mad about it. I still had Bruno. He got 4 points. It wasn't the worst in the world. I've had captains this year where I had Haaland earlier in the season. He got 2 points. It's better than 2, but it's not amazing. Yeah, I mean, if you captain Ahmad, I mean, there's probably someone out there that did captain Ahmad. Let's be honest. It always happens. There'll be someone out there who just goes, yeah, I know he's going to just go off, and he goes off. So look, I'm not worried about that. I am concerned about Man United's form, being a Man United fan, but like that's just another question for another time. In terms of the other yellow flags you need to be aware of, Sarr has a hamstring awareness, tightness, God knows what for Crystal Palace. Hamstrings, as I said before, as I said on the last stream, I thought that Isaac potentially could play because I've played with a hamstring injury and I'm a forward, and you need to be able to run as a forward. So unless he's actually torn it, which from all reports he hasn't torn it, I would expect Sarr to start. That's what I would say on that. If anyone's going to ask that, I would expect him to start. In terms of preparing team for possible doubles and blanks and trying to maximise the number of points you can get, I'm really disappointed because Diogo Jota, he's an injury worry. We're going to get into that in a second, but that is concerning for me because of the fact that that was going to be my 3rd Liverpool player. I'm not interested in Trent. I'm not interested in Van Dijk. I've got Alisson Becker in goal, so I'm covering the defence anyway. And I really wanted another attacker. The fact that Jota potentially now is not going to be any good, I was hoping to bring him in for Ipswich next week, but that's really thrown a spanner in the works, and I have to start doing some serious thinking. Like, Darwin Núñez is just too unreliable. Luis Diaz is too much of a minutes risk if he's going to start or if he's going to be benched. Gabko starts every week, but he doesn't really get massive hauls. So, like, it's a weird one. Like, I don't really know what I want to do, but I feel like I need a 3rd player because I'm not bringing in any Everton players. Like, that's just my play. Oh, mate. Well, yeah, a lot of people did captain Salah last week. In fairness, I watched the second half of that Forest game, and on any other day, like this season, Salah would have scored twice in that last 15 minutes. Like, Aina cleared one off the line, and then Sells made an amazing save. Like, he still had really good expected... I feel he had like 0.81 expected goal involvement. Even Bruno Fernandes had 0.6 something expected goal involvement. So, like, these aren't bad picks. Sometimes it just doesn't come in. And you just got to sit there and go, well, that's just unlucky. I mean, I had Phil Foden against Everton, and that day, Erling Haaland couldn't shoot to save himself, and neither could Bernardo Silva trying some fancy outside of the foot stuff. He had 0.9 something expected goal involvement, got me nothing except 1 bonus point. So like sometimes you just get unlucky. We're going to go into captaincy a little bit later. Yeah, it could go for Gapco for Jackson. I have weighed that up. Like Jackson's still got a few weeks in my team to figure out his nonsense, but at the moment he's definitely been letting the team down. Let's put it that way. But like all the people selling him, like if you look at all the other forwards, other than Wissa, who's 6.2 mil, you wouldn't buy him this week. They've got Liverpool at home. Who else actually has the data that backs up moving Jackson out? Like no one does. Jackson actually has the best data going around. At some point, he is going to convert. Maybe it's against Wolves this week. I'm bloody well hoping it's against Wolves this week. And we'll get into what Fantasy Football Hub reckons in a minute with my team. But yeah, which 3 players should you bench out of Hall, Gabriel, TAA, Munoz, Ahmad, Fernandez, Delap, João Pedro? I'd actually bench. Hold on, Delap's got Man City. He'll be up for that game. João Pedro's got Man United. Man, this is such a hard benching this week. I'd actually probably lean towards benching Gabriel. That sounds ridiculous, but I think that's correct. I'd actually bench Gabriel, Munoz, and Ahmad. I think those are the 3 I would. I'm assuming that's Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, it must be because you captained him as well. Yeah. I'm benching Ahmad, so I don't know if that helps, but yeah, hopefully it does. In terms of Spurs, will Spurs capitalise on the easier fixture runs coming up? Like, it's hard to tell, man. I watched that Tottenham Arsenal game, and I really don't understand what Ange is trying to do. Like, I think they really need... Spurs are one of them teams, they need James Maddison to start every game because the team just looks better. They hold the ball better. They control possession more. Why Ange doesn't like James Maddison, I'll never really know. We are going to do Squid's game predictions as well, half an hour before the deadline, where I think Squid's got on the blower to me. Alan unfortunately can't make it today. He's actually taken his girlfriend down to Brighton because she's been away in New Zealand. So he is down there, and unfortunately the internet is no good for him to be able to join. So he was going to be joining, but he has phoned in Squid's game predictions for me, so we will go through them about half an hour before the deadline in terms of what we expect in terms of results and potentially what kind of points returns we might get from different players in each games. Lastly, which moves should you be making this week? Now, if your team is not in drastic need of surgery, I just recommend rolling the transfer, or we'll get into this a little bit because I'm in the weird conundrum where I could make a move this week and bring in Milenkovic from Forest, and you would almost think that it's a guaranteed 6-pointer at the minimum against Southampton because Southampton are just rubbish away from home. But I don't know if it's the best long-term strategy, and the best players across every line and who they are. All right, let's just quickly check the chat. Would you start Palmer or Rodgers since Palmer has an in-out note? I'd be starting Palmer all day long, Bailey. Yes, Rodgers could perform, but I still think that, I just think that I can't see that happening myself. I think that Rodgers will not be outperforming Palmer. That is my honest opinion on that. Would you start Semenyo over Sarr? Oh, that's an interesting one. I expect Bournemouth to trouble Newcastle. I actually expect almost Bournemouth to score. Sarr against West Ham. West Ham are going to have the new manager bounce. So, I don't know. They looked all right against Fulham. Other than the fact that 2 random crosses went in, I don't know. I think I'd start Semenyo instead of Sarr. Like Sarr being injury risk as well. Maybe he plays limited minutes because of the hamstring. Maybe he doesn't play at all and you don't have to worry about it and Semenyo comes off your bench. But I think I'll be leaning towards starting Semenyo if you're asking me. So yeah. All right. So without further ado, we are going to get into, Fantasy Football Hub. I really don't understand it. So we'll just have a look at it really quickly. So in here, this is what it reckons for my team this week. It reckons I've got a 95% rating team. And when I optimized my team, it said Mo Salah captain, Isaac vice captain, which is completely against what I'm thinking this week. It also reckons that Robinson and Jackson should be on the bench and I should be starting Ahmad. Now, maybe it's biased because it thinks that Ahmad's going to score another hat-trick against Brighton. I highly doubt it. So sometimes I look at the predictions and think, oh yeah, what's it thinking? But I just really don't rate their predicted optimized lineup. I think that's absolute rubbish. And the fact that thinks my team's rated 95% and there's teams that are ranked like apparently 99% or whatever that are ranked 300,000, like, come on, mate, pull the other one. Who's coming up with this data? No problem at all, man. If you're new as well, make sure you drop a sub and like the video, like the stream as well. In terms of the injuries, so this is something new I just thought I'd go through. In terms of Arsenal, there's no new injuries there. White, Saka, they're still there. Jesus obviously done for the season. Villa, Barkley's now on the injury list and John McGinn is. So Marlon might actually start. Now, Marlon is available for Aston Villa this week, and I'm not sure what price he is. I'm going to have a look at that during the stream. But he is a player of particular interest because I believe that Villa, when they line up in the 4-3-3, they're going to have either Watkins or Duran, then it's going to be Rodgers, and then it potentially might be Marlon moving forward. So that's definitely something I would keep an eye on. In terms of Bournemouth, they have quite a few injuries, as you can see there. Unal, Sensi, Smith, Tavernier. A lot of these players are not like starters though. Van Linson's probably the main starter here that's causing problems. So that's just something to keep in mind there. In terms of Brentford, it's just really defenders, and obviously Thiago, that forward that they bought in the summer, he's obviously there as well. So that's something to keep in mind too. Brian and Hove Albion, Evan Ferguson, he's still a problem at this particular point in time. Dunk is on there as well. I mean, yeah, Danny Welbeck's no longer on there, so Danny Welbeck probably score against Man United. He always scores against Man United. It's so frustrating. Like, if there's a player that we could do with, it's probably him, to be fair. He knows how to score a goal. Now, Chelsea's one, obviously you can see here, there's quite a few people on there that are of interest to people. So Enzo Fernandez is actually on there as well, with Cole Palmer and Levi Colwill, highly owned players from Chelsea. Romeo Lavia just doesn't seem to be able to stay fit. Now, that's problematic because I think that Chelsea play a lot better when Lavia is in the team from what I've seen. So that's something to keep in mind there. Palace, obviously, not really much to be said there other than the fact that Ismaila Sarr is down as a knock officially, but it's been reported it's a hamstring. Adam Wharton's obviously on there as well. Everton, I mean, who cares about them? Dwight McNeil is a player that would have been of interest to me in the midfield for double game week 24, but at the moment it just doesn't look like he's going to be fit for then. So for me, that's not an option. Fulham, there's no one really to be worried about there except Tede, and as long as he's on there, that means Castagna's going to be playing. Ipswich, Skomodics, however you say his name, he's actually a really good player. When he plays, Ipswich actually look like scoring goals. Leicester, Ndidi, that's problematic. Hermanderson is also on there. Two of the players that are probably lying on. Jota's on there as a knock for Liverpool. For Man City, Pep said some weird stuff in his press conference yesterday, and we'll have a look at that in a second. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. In terms of Manchester United, it's Mason Mount still on there, Luke Shaw. I mean, when are those two not on the injury list? It's ridiculous. Same with Victor Lindelof. It seems like he's been injured all season as well. Newcastle still missing Wilson and Pope and Shah, which is Shah's only on illness, so that's going to be interesting. And then there's nothing, like Tottenham's list is ridiculous. Pentacore, Davies, Romero, Udogi, Van der Ven. That's probably why they're playing so crap. But even when they're all available at the start, also Brendan Johnson has been added to the injury list. Well, on this injury list anyway for Tottenham. So that's one there to monitor if you own him. West Ham, unfortunately, missing a lot of forwards there. Somerville, Bowen, Antonio, Fulkrug, like they're all players. Ariola's on there as well. So that'll be interesting to note that maybe Ariola is injured, which is why Fabianski's starting. I'm not sure. I have to watch and see who's on the bench for West Ham this week. Wolverhampton Wanderers, there's no one on there, but Cunha potentially might be missing this game. I'm not sure why, but it's rumoured that he potentially could be. Now, onto the scout selection team for the week. And for once, I actually don't mind this team. Ipswich obviously can see goals. Obviously, I've got three of that midfield four. I'm actually playing Bruno Fernandes instead of Gordon in my team. And up front, I'm playing Jackson instead of Raul. I'm not going to be captaining Isaac, and I'm not going to be vice-captaining Salah. It's going to be Captain Palmer and vice-captain Foden for me. But it's an interesting team. For once, I actually don't mind what they've come up with in terms of a first 11. But I still think that Munoz doesn't make a first 11. I think there's better options than Munoz this week in the defence. Yeah, but I think any Forest defender is brilliant this week. So for me, that I'd actually probably have a second Forest defender in there. Like I'd have Milenkovic and Aina and Guaviol in the defence. In terms of the actual flags that are in the game at the moment. So Cunha's yellow flagged, illness, 75% chance of playing. Coleman, no good. No one owns him. Who cares? Ismaila Sarr, hamstring injury, 75% chance. Johnson, calf injury, 75% chance. Basuma, who no one owns him. Palmer, 75%. Lavia, 75%. Enzo, 75%. Colwill, 75%. Those are probably the only ones that people own. Sorry, cancel that. Some people do own Luis Diaz. Don't know why you own him, but some people do. He's also got illness. Most likely will play, but 75% chance of playing. Diogo Jota, again, muscle injury, 75% chance of playing. Probably not from the start. Well, Ariel's got a knock, 25% chance of playing. Must be pretty decent because it's a pretty reddish kind of a flag, that one. Dibbling should be fine. I didn't really notice anything wrong with him the other day when he played. Anyone else on there? I mean, everyone should be selling Jesus at this point. Van Linson, everyone should be selling him if you haven't already. Is there anyone else that's relevant? Bowen, ditto. Everyone should have sold him. He's out for a little while. I don't think there's anyone else really that looks on there that's new that I can see. I mean, some of these names are just pointless. I don't even know why I'm going this far down. Like, some of these people must have been out for like God knows how long. I like transferred. Who cares about transfers? All right, so let's have a look at some of the news conferences that came out yesterday. So this is courtesy of Fantasy Football Scout. So Chelsea, this is what Maresca had to say. We have Cole, who was not in the session today. Levi was not in the session today. Enzo was not in the session today. Romero was not in the session today. We have Romeo, sorry. We have 3 or 4 players who are doubts for Monday's game because of the last game. They had some problems. Cole, first half, they kick him. He didn't train today. We didn't know if he's going to train tomorrow or in 2 days. The same situation for Enzo, Romeo, and Levi. So Reece James also got through unscathed. But you can't take a punt on Reece James at this point. One really interesting point is that Chalobah has now returned to Chelsea. And I think if they start starting him, they're going to be a much better team defensively. But I don't think he's really mentioned anything about him. Fofana's obviously out for probably the rest of the season, as is Badashili. Mudryk suspended. Yeah, nothing much to say. Liverpool, though, this is what they said. Monitor about the fitness of Diogo Jota. So maybe he might actually be all right. He might actually play. Who knows? He might be on the bench. But this is what he said. There's no doubt about the fact that Jota is an important player for us, but he wasn't, like he said, on the training ground yesterday. So that means we have to see today where he is. So I was not sure that he will be available for tomorrow. We have to wait and see today. He felt a little bit when he came in at Forest, a little niggle during the half hour he came in. He could finish the game, but afterwards he complained a bit about it, and that's why he didn't train yesterday. We have to wait and see if he's available today, and then, of course, tomorrow. Now, I don't know what Jota had to begin with, but the fact that he is feeling something playing 20-odd minutes like most games, that's concerning. And, like, as I've obviously still got that third Liverpool spot to fill, ideally I would have liked it to be Jota, but if he's incapable of actually starting a game, what's the point of doing it? Would you bench Gabriel for Castagna? Fabres, hello and welcome. Castagna, I've got Robinson playing in my team in front of Timber, if that's of any consolation. Gabriel, though, is such a threat from set pieces. I don't know what Aston Villa's record is like from set pieces this season, but I'd say it's pretty decent, particularly with Mings back in the lineup and Pau Torres and stuff like that. I would have thought they're pretty good off set pieces, so I'd probably lean towards playing Castagna, if I'm being honest. I also don't rate expensive defenders this season. That's just my personal opinion. I haven't owned Gabriel all season, and I'm probably unlikely to at this point as well. But, so, an absence for Jota would potentially be good news for Luis Diaz, but apparently he also had a little bit of an illness and a sore throat. I mean, I've had sore throats and played through them. I'm sure that Luis Diaz will be fine. And you would think that if Jota's incapable of playing... I mean, the one thing that should be noted here is that Darwin Núñez is now available for selection because he's no longer suspended. So we could see a Núñez, Gapco, and Salah front three. That's quite possible. It's either going to be that or it's going to be Gapco, Salah, and Diaz. No, all good, man. My pleasure. Thanks to... happy to help out. In terms of Man City news, this is interesting. So Pep Guardiola after was talking about Erling Haaland's new contract. I mean, how are they paying Haaland that much money and not... I just don't get it. I mean, the whole thing is just a joke with Man City in terms of money and stuff like that. But apparently he said this: we'll see. Yesterday was a day off. We are now going to train. We'll see. Some players finish with some problems like every game, and we will see. Yup. Okay, that gives us a lot. Pep Guardiola is like Eddie Howe, gives you absolutely diddly squat. No, I don't think he's too far away. Still, he has a little bit of doubts because it's a long time. Training session by training session, he'll be fine. That was on Oscar Bob. So I'm looking forward to Oscar Bob hopefully getting back because he's a really cheap option for Man City, and he did look really good at the start of the season. Arteta, what did he say? There are a few decisions to make this afternoon with the medical staff to understand whether they are in the best condition for this game or the next one. In terms of Calafuri, Nweri, Saka, White, Tomiyasu, and Jesus are still all out. So, No, unfortunately, none of them are close to returns as well. In terms of Tottenham, there's still a couple sore from midweek. We're just waiting on to see how... Brendan has a bit of a calf complaint, and Biss is a bit sore as well, so we're just waiting to hear information on them. Calf complaints are really bad. So if you've got a calf issue, you can't play on it. I've played on a calf and you just tear it. So that might not be good for Johnson. I don't know who he's talking... Oh, Fraser Forster's back in goalkeeping training, so that's interesting. Don't know if he's going to come back in. I wouldn't have thought so. It was pretty bad before. And apparently he's got no option other than to keep starting Pedro Porro. All right, Fabian Schär was ill. He should be fine, you would think. The return to Nick Pope is imminent, although the visit to Bournemouth likely comes too soon. That's interesting. So if you've got Dubravka, you'd probably play him this week, but if you're relying on him, you probably want to start looking for another goalkeeper because Nick Pope is about to be back. In fairness, you could just transfer in Nick Pope because Newcastle's defence has been amazing. I mean, surely Nick Pope just comes back in as number one, but maybe he doesn't. Dubravka's been really good the last few weeks. So Eddie Howe reckons it'll be pretty much the same squad. On Villa, said new signing Doniel Marlin could be involved tomorrow. He's usually playing as a number 7 and sometimes as a number 11 on the left side, while he can also play as a number 10. In the attacking third, he's always close to getting into the opponent's box to score goals and get assists, more goals than assists. We will need a player like him trying to threaten the opponent in behind. So that's interesting to note that is how he sees Marlon. Very interesting. All right, let's have a look at the rest. In terms of Palace, Pau Torres is still out. Okay, that probably affects their ability to defend set pieces. John McGinn's starting to train on the field, but not for tomorrow. Ross Barkley's still out. Diego Carlos this morning is feeling good, but he's not going to be available. All right. Palace, Sarr. Okay, Jefferson Lerma is not available tomorrow. He's sick, but all the others who played at Leicester look quite good. We've a little small question about Ismaila Sarr. He's suffering a little bit with tightness in his hamstring, but he'll be fine. If he's just saying it's a little bit of hamstring tightness, he'll 100% be fine. I would not be worrying about him at all. Apparently, Mateus Cunha is now ill. Today he was out of training because he got, I think, a flu. He was a bit sick. I hope tomorrow that he'll be on the pitch maybe. If he's on the pitch training, there's a possibility for him to play the next game. Diego Dalot will be back available, and you can guarantee he'll be starting as left wing back for Manchester United against Brighton. And they're still without the usual injuries. Mount, Evans, Shaw and Lindelof. I mean, they're just making a roar out of Man United at this point in that lot. Bournemouth, no, we're not going to recover anyone from the other day. It's just 3 days, so no. All right, same squad for there. Jimmy's back on the training pitch. What does he say about Dwight McNeil? Anything about Dwight McNeil? Dwight isn't too far away, but we're just waiting for some more information, really. That's interesting, because he is a player I would like to bring in for game week 24, potentially, as the cheap enabler. I don't mind betting on Dwight McNeil. I had him earlier in the season. He wasn't too bad for me. Nuno on injuries. Sangaré is getting closer. Danilo is coming back. Healthy squad. Thank God. I like it. Okay. All right. Nothing really there. That's it. That's all that's posted on there. All right. Let's have a look at my team then. So at the moment, I have 2 free transfers. It's looking pretty good. Like long-term wise, it's looking pretty good. I mean, if we look at Timber's fixtures, this week against Villa is not flash, and Man City in 24 is not flash. But other than that, I mean, you've got Wolves, Leicester, and West Ham, 3 of the next 5. He's looking pretty good on paper, like just to keep for the next 5 games. I mean, long-term is actually not too bad either. Like they finished with Southampton away. Like Julian Timber looks like a player that's probably just going to stay in my team for the rest of the season. I quite like him. Kirkis is an interesting one. I have benched him, obviously, against Chelsea. I had him for the Everton 12 points on the field. And I did think that if I can just hold him to 25, it really opens up again. Southampton away, Wolves at home, Brighton away, Spurs away, Brentford at home in 29. Ipswich and 30. Like, the run from Bournemouth for the rest of the season, outside of that Man City game and 37 and Arsenal and 35. In fact, actually, I might look to get rid of him from like 33 onwards. There's probably better defender from game week 33 onwards. I'm just going to rock him. I think that I hold him for the next 3 on the bench and then just play him from then on. Colwell's the interesting one. Now, Colwell's the player that I'm most likely to get rid of. If I make a transfer today, it's going to be Colwell that leaves the team. Now, the reason why is because Chelsea, as you can see here, concede pretty regularly 2 goals, 1, 2, 2. Like, these are teams that they should be just keeping clean sheets against, like Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, and Bournemouth, and they concede 7 goals against those teams. Are you kidding me? That's not what you want as a defender. That's not what you want. And with the fact that he's got 0 attacking potential is probably the reason why I'm going to get rid of him. We have to go back to Everton, where Everton never score goals anyway, for his last clean sheet. Obviously, the Southampton game he missed because he was rotated. Villa, obviously, he kept the clean sheet, but he was on my bench because I did not expect him to keep a clean sheet against Villa. Let's be honest. And then they've conceded against Leicester, Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle, Liverpool. Like, Chelsea have only kept not many clean sheets all season long. So, like, maybe their defense... I think if Chalobah actually comes in, that they're going to be a much better defensive team. But he's not in the team yet. So, for me, it's like... I think I'm going to transfer him out. I'm not going to lie. Milinkovic here just looks so good. Like, he's the player I'm going to buy. I've got 0.6 in the bank. I can afford to do it. I'll have 0.4 left in the bank after the move. Even against Liverpool, I mean, they conceded 1.99 expected goals. But they only conceded once. I mean, they should have conceded twice. Salah somehow just failed to score in the last 15 minutes. But Wolves at home, like these games here, they've been pretty good defensively. Even when they're conceding chances, Sells has been so good behind the defence. And like Milinkovic has that goal threat. So like he's scored, I think 3 times this season now. He scored against Villa, scored against Man United. Everyone scores against Man United from set pieces. That's not a surprise at all. Got an assist against Chelsea. Not a surprise there either. So he's actually only scored twice. I actually thought he scored 3 times. That's interesting. So he scored twice, 1 assist, 0.14 expected goal involvement. Now, lots of people sit there and go, oh, why don't you have an expensive defender? Now, if I pull up the defenders, look at Gabriel. Gabriel here, yes, he's got more attacking returns. So he's got 2 assists and 3 goals. But he's exactly the same, 0.14 expected goal involvement per 90. Like, why pay up an extra 1.6 million for someone that does exactly the same thing? And arguably, Forest have kept more clean sheets than Arsenal this season as well. So Arsenal have only kept 6 clean sheets and Forest have kept 9 clean sheets. So that's 3 extra +4s you're getting from a Forest defender compared to Arsenal to this point in the season. Have Forest had an easy run? They've played some of the harder teams. I think they've played them all now. They've played Liverpool, obviously. They've obviously still got them all to come again, which that is the downside. Whereas, if for example, if you look at Gabriel, they've played Tottenham, I think, twice already now. Yeah, they've played Tottenham twice. They've played City. They've played Liverpool. I mean, they've still got to play City and Liverpool again. They've got to play Man United again away from home. The Liverpool game's obviously going to be away as well. And the Man City game is going to be at home. So, I don't know. For me, I wouldn't be wasting the money on the defence is the honest answer there. If you want my personal opinion, I think the best thing to do is to just, go cheap. Robinson's been really good this week. Lots of people sit there and think that he's a benching option against Leicester. I mean, Leicester look in trouble. I feel sorry for Ruud van Nistelrooy. I can't see them staying up is the honest answer at this point. I think they're going to go down. And I kind of expect... I feel like potentially they could score, but I feel like Robinson could easily get another assist in this game. Like, Leicester's defending is just god-awful. The Man United Newcastle games are not fabulous, but then it's not too bad. Forest, Palace at home, Wolves away, Brighton away. I mean, like, they're not... I mean, from 28 onwards, the fixtures are pretty damn bad for Fulham. Like, they've only got the Southampton and Everton games there. Like, forward planning, Robinson may actually leave the team. I think I can sell him for 4.9. So yeah, he's up to 5. I think he's going up to 5. I think he's actually 5.1 now, or he's either going to go up to 5.1 today after the deadline. But like, look, I'm going to hold him this week. There's no need to move him on. But like, realistically, I just want defenders that cost under 5 mil or around the 5 mil mark that offer some sort of attacking potential. The clean sheets this season have been so scarce, so far in between. Unless we see Liverpool or Arsenal or someone else go on a massive run of clean sheets, I ain't spending up on defenders that cost more than 5 mil. Except Timber, because I've already got him in my team and I can't justify moving him out because he's still the cheapest way into that Arsenal defensive line, as far as I'm concerned. In terms of Hall, he's amazing. I mean, I bought this man at 4.4 and he's now up to 5 mil. I'm not sure why he's not showing up as selling for 4.7, because it should be, because, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. But look, the best triple up you can have in the game at the moment is Hall, Gordon and Isaac. Let's not beat about the bush. They are the best triple up from any team in the league right now. Over the last 6 weeks in particular, they've all returned, bar in the Tottenham game when obviously Lewis Hall blanked. And they've all got massive points hauls over that time. I mean, Gordon hasn't had a massive points haul, but he's just been consistently getting 6 or 8 points, 6 or 9. I think he actually got 9 points in the midweek. And the thing is, when Saka got injured, I was one of those people that thought, you know what, my team value is super good. Like, I'm up to 107.3 million team value at the moment in my team. And I thought, why spend the money in the defence? And I've been justified. Trent Alexander-Arnold has dropped one 15-pointer and every other week he's been shit. Like, let's be honest, he's been bad. Lewis Hall, who I got instead of Trent Alexander-Arnold, has outscored him comfortably the last 6 weeks. Like, that's just a fact. That's just that. There is no need. Like, all these people that sit there and go, oh, you've got to have Trent or you've got to have Van Dijk or these expensive defenders. They're talking nonsense. They just like wasting money on players that concede goals and then therefore get you no points at all. So for me, yes, they might pay off that 1 week, get like a 15 or whatever. But like for me, I'm quite happy. So Phil Foden, I said I bought him in for game week 18, exceptionally unlucky in game week 18. But since then, he's been pretty good. He's actually matched Gordon in 19 and 20 and then blew him out of the park in 21. So look, the Ipswich away fixture potentially could be Phil Foden's last in my team. But it's one that I'm definitely willing to take him on with, because I dreamt that he scored 2 goals against Brentford. I mean, I'm not expecting him to score twice against Ipswich, but I mean, it'd be quite realistic to expect some sort of attacking return from him. I would not bother I'm not captaining him this week. Ipswich away is like one of them weird fixtures. Ipswich either show up to play or they don't show up to play. So yeah, but I'm quite happy to have him in the team. I think he'll be fine this week, and you know, but that's why he's the vice captain at the moment. I potentially might change him off the vice captain. Isaac still looks pretty good. He's in such hot form. We'll discuss that a little bit later. Ahmad, obviously, look, some people sit there and go, I'm benching Ahmad this week. FYI, if you're after here wondering whether you should bench Ahmad this week, I'm benching him. He's fresh off 20 points. He got 9 against Liverpool. He's got 13 against Man City. But I'm more concerned that he's going to deliver a performance like against Newcastle, Wolves, Bournemouth. Brighton are a good team. I could well see Brighton beating Man United tomorrow night. Judging from what I saw against Southampton, it'd be quite possible that we lose this game like 1-0 or 2-0 or something like that. Yeah. I mean, wordplay, mate. I love it. Yeah, we'll talk about Chris Wood in a second. He's been really good as well. It's so nice having the Woody Woodpecker back in the team, and so many people are joining the Wood train. They're all hoping that he's going to get you some Wood against Southampton. I think potentially he might. Yeah, like he's been pretty good, Ahmad, as a budget option ever since Ten Hag got fired. Ahmad is tired. Yeah, he's tired. He was so tired against Southampton that last 15 minutes. And he destroyed him when he was tired. The thing I like about Ahmad is he just gets the ball and he just drives into the box. He looks to go forward. He looks to take players on. He's so exciting to watch as a supporter. Should have got Ahmad on the back of the shirt. I didn't realise how much I was going to enjoy watching him. But he's brilliant. I'm quite happy to keep him in the team. Realistically, I actually wanted to get rid of Ahmad for Rodgers. And the more I thought about it, the more it makes no sense. And the reason why you should just hold whatever budget play you've got is a bit of forward planning. So obviously we know that there's going to be a blank game week in 29, and Manchester United, which is why Bruno Fernandes is still in my team as well. They have Ipswich at home in 27, which I'm eyeing off in particular, and they have Leicester away in game week 29. I can tell you that anyone that's playing their free hit or whatever in game week 29 or looking to buy players are going to be looking at that Manchester United-Leicester fixture thinking there's going to be goals there. I want Ahmad. I want Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, that's right. He definitely forgets his... 100%. He just picks up the ball and goes, let's go and get some goals. So I'm pretty happy with that. In terms of what I would like to do next week, I'm in the conundrum of... I am aware that Newcastle are highly likely to blank in game week 29. And I'm concerned that if I bring in Gordon for Foden next week, which is definitely something I'm eyeing up, considering Newcastle will have Southampton away, and that just looks like an unbelievably good fixture for him. Like, that is a move that I potentially could make. But I'm just concerned that I'll then have to transfer him out again before game week 29, because in reality... I've got lots of team value tied up in Hull. I don't want to be moving him out. Timber's likely to play, so that's fine. But then if I bring in a third Liverpool player, I'm going to be in the problem where I'm going to be owning 3 Liverpool players and 3 Newcastle players for game week 29. And I expect Liverpool to beat Tottenham at home at Anfield and overturn that deficit, which then means I've got 6 players of my 15 unavailable for game week 29, and I'm not selling Isaac, I'm not selling Hall, and I'm not selling Salah. I've got so much team value tied up in them, which means that Becker potentially might have to waste another transfer on a goalkeeper, which doesn't feel good already, and then I'd have to sell Gordon and whichever other Liverpool player I bring in. So I'm going to be wasting transfers, bringing these players in, and then wasting them again to get them out, so I don't have to play free hit in 29. So it's just something I have to think about, which is why I haven't jumped on Gordon, because I'm not 100% certain about that. Oh, no Saliba today. Okay, interesting. I have to check that out. That's weird. But who do they play instead of Saliba? Who else is in Arsenal's defence? Let's have a look. Let's check out Arsenal defence. So it's probably going to be Gabriel and Timber in the in centre defence. Like, who the hell else are these other people? It's probably going to be Zinchenko or Lewis Skelly. Where is Lewis Skelly? He's in the midfield. That's interesting. So it'll probably Lewis Skelly at left back. Calafuri's going to be out. But Calafuri might actually make it. Like, if Timber's going to be out, not Timber. If Saliba's going to be out, maybe Calafuri will be playing, and it'll be Calafuri and Gabriel in the defence. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world that can happen, but we'll see. I just don't really rate the Villa team, to be honest. It was interesting. So yeah, obviously Nicholas Jackson. Lots of people sit there and go, selling Nicholas. I can't believe that he's down to 19.4% ownership. Like, if people are so short-sighted, yes, he's been pretty damn bad since game week 13. I had him for 12, 13. Then he obviously missed the Southampton game, which was really good because that meant that Isaac came off the bench for me. So I'm not complaining that he missed that Southampton game at all. He obviously then blanked against Tottenham, which was frustrating considering they scored 4 goals and he wasn't involved. Brentford, he got 9 points. Then the last 5 weeks have been pretty bad, but Chelsea in general have been pretty bad the last 5 weeks. Obviously, Maresca's stuffing it up because he's sitting there. I don't think he's going to get rotated again, that's for sure. They're going to perform really well. An extra transfer on mine. Yeah, that's right. If you think someone's definitely worth doing, I've done it earlier this season. So earlier this year, I took a -4 to bring in Rodgers and Watkins for Isaac and not sure who the other person was. Someone. And it was like in game week 4 or 5, and they both returned. Rodgers got a goal, Watkins got 2 or something, or it was like someone got an assist or a goal. Definitely, sometimes -4s work. Like earlier in the season, prior to my first wild card, I didn't roll a transfer once. For the first 12 weeks of the season, I used my transfers every week. I took 2 -4s along that time as well. But that is also me playing the price rises the first 12 weeks. I was so aggressive at transferring out anyone that looked like they were going to drop, who wasn't in form, and jumping on people that were about to rise. That's why I've got 107.3 million team value. And it's good. I think later in the season, that's going to come back and really help me, particularly in game week 30 where I've got penciled in playing my second wild card. I think that's definitely something that I'm eyeing up, and I think it's going to be a really good tactic moving forward as well. Yeah, keep getting your comments in, guys. Lots of people in the chat, so yeah, just keep them flowing in. So in terms of picking my team this week, this is where I'm at the moment. Now, I actually have toyed up with playing Fabianski instead of Becker. Now, the reason why is because I think the Brentford attack is a lot better than the Palace attack. Like, I think Wissa and Mbeumo are a lot better than Sarr, Eze and Mateta. And I think that West Ham actively look. I've watched the last 2 games that Graham Potter's been in charge for. I've watched a Villa game and I've watched a Fulham game. They look, I know that Fulham scored twice, but it was just pure fluke. Like, the way that Iwobi puts a ball in, everyone misses it, and the goalkeeper expects someone to make contact with it, and it just hasn't happened. So for me, I actually think Fabianski's more likely to keep a clean sheet than Becker this week. But I feel like they're both going to concede, and if they both concede, I can't see Liverpool conceding more than once. I mean, surely they can't concede more than once against Brentford. But I can't see Palace scoring more than once against Fabianski. So it's like one of them really weird ones where I'm kind of torn. But like, because I think it's a 50-50, I've got to play the more expensive asset. So like, that's where I'm at. But I'm not opposed to playing Fabianski instead of Becker this week. So if Gordon is best picked, then transfer in 29. Yeah, that's right. I agree. Yeah. So it might well be the case. The only other thing that I am thinking of, so if we go back to the transfers really quickly here, in terms of midfielders, the other player that I really like the look of, so for me, next week, and they're both going to probably be the same price, like Gordon's probably going to be 7.8 when I do this. So Gordon, obviously, is an amazing run of form. Since game week 12, he's gone 5-8-1, which was disappointing against Brentford, 6-6-10, 6-7-9. Like, he hasn't blanked in the last 6 weeks. Like, he hasn't got a massive haul. Like, Aston Villa's the only double-digit haul in there. But he's such a good option. But, like, in comparison to Phil Foden, who's in my team instead, Phil Foden matched him in game week 19, 6 points. He actually beat him in game week 20, where he got 7. Gordon got 7, Phil Foden got 8. And against Wolves, Gordon gets 9, but Phil Foden gets 15. So, yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Bonte, Clash of the Clans, start out of Gabriel, Sarr, and Lewis. I wouldn't be starting Lewis. There's no guarantee he's even going to start for Man City. And I feel like Ipswich will score as well. I have Raya. Not a fan of the Arsenal dub up. Yeah, okay. In that case, I just bench Gabriel. Yep, 100%. Bonte, Clash of the Clans. Yeah, I wouldn't rate a double up against Villa as well. I'm debating currently whether I'm going to play Timber or Colwill on my team this week. So, yeah, for me, I'm probably going to... At the moment, I'm erring towards playing Colwill, but potentially that could become Timber. Chelsea just don't keep clean sheets. I actually think they might just make that transfer. Colwill out, Milenkovic in, and then just roll it. The only thing that concerns me about that transfer is just the long-term points. Like, Forest is surely not going to keep 4 clean sheets in a row here. Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. Like, 2 of them away, 2 of them at home. I could see them keeping a clean sheet against Brighton at home. Bournemouth away, obviously their attack isn't as good at the moment. But like 26 to 28 doesn't look good. But then the Ipswich game in 29 when everyone's going to be blanking looks amazing as well. So like Milenkovic maybe for Colwell's actually probably the play, because like they finished the season with quite a nice run of fixtures as well. And then I just bench him in the weeks I don't need him. I think that's probably the play. I think the more I think about it, the more I'm likely to do that between now and the next hour and 10 minutes. Bonte, I don't think I've seen you in the chat before as well, man. If you feel like it, please drop us a sub as well. Yeah. So back to the team selection. Oh, sorry. No, I was jumping around there. The other player I was looking at for next week in particular, instead of Phil Foden, is actually Brian Mbeumo. Now, they all, between him and Gord, they cost about the same amount. Obviously, I wouldn't be looking at him this week, which is why this is like such a good exit point, because Crystal Palace away, Spurs at home, West Ham away, Leicester away, Everton at home, Aston Villa at home, Bournemouth away. That's a really nice run of fixtures for Brentford, and I think it's probably matches what Gordon's got. Like, Gordon's got a really good next 3 weeks, but then it gets significantly harder. If we have a look at Gordon again, like, the next 3 weeks are amazing. Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Fulham at home, but then it's Man City, Nottingham Forest, Liverpool. Like, that is nowhere near as good a run than what Burmo's got during that space of time. All right, Evan. If you had to start 3, would you start Trent, Castagna, Aina, Hall, or Nico Williams? I'd be definitely starting Williams. Southampton are not going to score. I wouldn't have thought. They're not playing Man United, so there's probably a strong likelihood they'll blank. So I would definitely start Nico Williams and Aina. And I would probably start Hall instead of Trent. I really just don't rate Trent. Like I had him at the start of the season for 6 weeks, and I was massively underwhelmed by him. The only good thing was that Liverpool were keeping clean sheets in. Liverpool are no longer keeping clean sheets. I don't know what all the allure is about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Yes, he actually has the best assist or expected goal involvement data of defenders. It just doesn't equate to any points most weeks, more often than not. Evan, also, if you're new, please smash a sub. That'd be nice. And give the stream a like as well. Already subbed. All right. Loved it. What the news on Sarr? Apparently Sarr's got hamstring tightness. Now, I said this about Isaac in the Game Week 21 deadline stream. I have played, like I'm a forward, and I have played with a pulled hamstring many a time. You just have to adjust your running pattern in order not to fully tear it. The only way that you're missing a game with hamstring tightness is if your back is spasming, which I doubt is happening, that hasn't been reported, or if you've actually torn your hamstring. You can't actually run on a torn hamstring. It probably needs about 1 or 2 weeks in order for a small tear to recover in order to play. But from all the reports, it's just a bit of hamstring tightness. He should be fine. I would expect him to start. Yeah, that'd be my opinion on that one. So Gordon, like obviously that 25, 26, 27 doesn't look overly fabulous. So for me, it's like one of them ones, it's a wait and monitor. I want to see how he goes. Look, the Southampton fixture really does make me want to go there for like maybe a week. But like I just don't want to be wasting transfers. I do want to triple up on Liverpool. I've only got 2 free ones at the moment. If I bring in Milinkovic today for Colwill, then I've only got 2 next week. In theory, I could do Foden to Gordon. And then the week after, I could potentially do Gordon to a Liverpool player if I think they're likely to start. I just don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going to go with the Liverpool things. Either way, dropping Phil Foden is going to give me a lot of money, so I could then upgrade a defender to an extra Liverpool player. Maybe it's Timber to Van Dijk, or maybe it's just Timber to Canade, or it's like maybe it's a Robinson to Canade. But Robinson's literally almost the same price as Canade. So like for me, that's definitely something I could do. I could do Milinkovic this week, Canade next week for the Ipswich at home game. That actually looks really good. So if I did that, like Robinson's run of games isn't that kind the next 3 weeks. Like 23 to 25, not that good. Then it's Palace, Wolves and Brighton. Again, how many clean sheets are Fulham going to keep? They haven't actually kept that many clean sheets this season. I think they've only kept, 3 clean sheets for the season. The reason why Robinson's been so good is because he's got 9 attacking returns. So that's definitely something to monitor. Like Canade could be that double up on the Liverpool defence. Like, let's have a look at what that looks like in my team. I just don't rate the expensive defenders. So if you ask them why don't you get Trent or something like that, I just don't think they're worth the money. I think there's far better options out there instead. And then let's just say that's Milinkovic. Like that looks pretty good. I've got 0.1 left in the bank. I don't even have to like make any other transfers. I can literally keep Phil Foden if I like the look of him. If he continues to return, why not? Kane Orchard, what have we got here? Is targeting 3 Liverpool essential? It's difficult to repair my team in time for 29. Also have good team value. Yeah, I've got 107.3 million team value. Nice to meet you, Kane. Please feel free to sub if you haven't already. I'm not sure it is essential, you know. At the moment, I've got Becker and Salah in my team. As I said, like I am thinking about a 3rd Liverpool player, and I've obviously got a transfer to do it. I just don't know if that's something I want to do at the moment. And I don't know if I want to waste a transfer to bring him in. I mean, the problem is we're not going to know before the end of game. Like, realistically, you want to bring the Liverpool player in for the Ipswich game because they're likely to return in the Ipswich game. And if you're going to make the transfer, you might as well bring him in for that. But it's like one of them weird ones. Like, if you don't do it and you miss the Ipswich game, what's the point of actually doing it for that double? Because I don't actually think the double's actually that good on paper. Like the Ipswich game and the Wolves game, either side of the double look amazing. Realistically, you want them for those 2 games as well. And then you probably want to sack them off for game week 26, 27 because it's hard. Southampton and 28's interesting. Like, I just don't know if Liverpool are that good at tripling up on. I've only got Becker in goal because I was like, I had Verbruggen, and Verbruggen was doing nothing. Ironically, since I got rid of Verbruggen, he has kept 2 clean sheets and Becker's kept 1. Can you believe that? Like, it's just unheard of. So, like, obviously, and realistically, I expected him to keep a clean sheet against Leicester, and they conceded against Leicester. I expected him to keep a clean sheet against Man United, and they conceded twice. And then against Nottingham Forest, they concede off like the only shot of the game. It's just highly frustrating. Like, owning keepers this season has just done my head in. If there's one position that I wish I could go back at the start of the season and just pick a goalkeeper, I would have picked Sells as my goalkeeper and wouldn't have moved him. I would have been so much happier in life, and I wouldn't have been wasting transfers. I think I've wasted... So I traded Henderson to Raya. That's one transfer. Raya to Verbruggen on wild card. That was the second one. And then I've traded Verbruggen to Becker. So I've wasted 2 of my 22 available transfers this season on bloody goalkeepers. And it's done me nothing. Nothing other than just get me the 1 or 2 points. Like, they're literally not worth transferring. The clean sheets are just so hard to get this season. Like, there's no point transferring goalkeepers, I don't think. Unless you're going to bring in Sells. Like, Sells is the only goalkeeper I'd even consider making another transfer for. Ironically, that's something potentially I could do. Now, if we look long-term at this team, I really like the idea of having Canade in there now. Only because of the fact that if he's fit and he's going to start, like that Ipswich game, he's definitely going to keep a clean sheet. Like, next week, Kirkes has Nottingham Forest, not ideal. Hall has Southampton, so he's definitely playing. Timber's got Wolves, so he's definitely going to play next week. And then at the moment, Robinson has got Man United. He ain't going to be starting. So if I get rid of Robinson and then Canade comes in next week, that actually looks really... Whoops, I've already got Canade in there. If I bring in Milinkovic this week, it makes my team look so much better. I think that's probably the play. So this week I'd play Hall, Milinkovic and Robinson because Milinkovic will come in for Colwill. And then next week it will be... Oh no, they got Bournemouth. Yeah, there. So but next week it will be Hall, Canade and Timber. That just looks really good. Like, and then long term you just juggle them around. So yeah, I think that's probably the play. That might be how I get my third Liverpool player in, and that would leave me still with a couple of transfers as well. I'm not bringing in Canade this week though, so we'll get rid of that, restore, and then this guy, that'll be Milinkovic there. I think that's probably the transfer I'm likely to make. Leave 0.3 million in the bank. It looks pretty good on paper. So I think that's definitely where I would like to go moving forward. All right, let's have a look at some of my other messages coming in. Lots of people commenting on TikTok. Sorry, I did put a story up with the stream, so if you're on there, you need to join. So it's unfortunate. We're going to be responding to that at the moment. But yeah, looking at picking the team this week, I think that's what I'm going to go with. Cole Palmer is locked in as captain. Look, there are lots of alternatives again this week. There's lots of good fixtures, man. You could even make Nicholas Jackson captain. Like, I know that sounds preposterous, but it's definitely possible. I need to probably swap this around. So at the moment, that's going to be that. I think realistically, Colwill is going to become Milinkovic, and then I'm quite happy with the team this week. I know it's preposterous benching someone that got 20 points midweek, but unfortunately, I don't think we're likely to see an Ahmad hat-trick against Brighton. All right, Nurul, just start Ahmad, Mateta or Semenyo. Mateta. Mateta's got the easier fixture. They've got West Ham, haven't they? Yeah. I think I start Mateta only because he's on penalties as well. Always start the penalty taker. Realistically, I don't think any of those players are going to go that well this week. Oh, look, I've got Ahmad on my bench. I mean, if Man United score, it's either going to be Fernandes or Ahmad. During midweek, it was Ahmad. Against Liverpool, it was Ahmad. Against Man City, it was Ahmad. Maybe I've got this wrong. Maybe it should be Fernandes on the bench. But, like, Fernandes is the penalty taker. And if they win a penalty, he's going to be taking it. Ideally, Ahmad wins the penalty. Fernandes takes it. Fernandes will get more points. And then I don't feel so bad about Ahmad sitting on the bench. Like, I can't justify benching anyone else for Ahmad this week. Like Mo Salah, you can't bench him. I actually thought that Mo Salah's fixture was the worst of my 8 attackers last week, and I benched Wood. But like realistically, in my head, it came down to I either bench Ahmad or I bench Wood. But I saw the fixture and thought, we're playing Southampton. Wood's got Liverpool. Ahmad started. And realistically, like Jackson, this is really interesting. So lots of people have sold Jackson again for Wood this week. Like Wood's expected goal involvement this season has not cracked more than 1 all season long. Like he hasn't had more than 1 expected goal involvement the whole season. And he's only 0.39 expected goals per 90. He's massively overperforming. He scored 13 goals from 7.3 expected goals, which is insane. Like he's so efficient, it's ridiculous. In comparison, Nicholas Jackson here, 10.1 expected goals. He's only scored 9. But his data for the season, 0.59 compared to 0.39. So like Nicholas Jackson is a far better forward on paper than Chris Wood. It's just Chris Wood is delivering the goods. So that's what you got to keep in mind. In terms of like the best buys this week, as you can see there, I've actually got them listed there on the side. Hall's definitely the best still. Milinkovic probably comes in at number 2, which is why I'm considering him. Robinson is still a really good buy, but I am concerned now about the fixtures coming up. Munoz probably comes in at number 4, and number 5 is Nico Williams, just as a real budget option for Nottingham Forest, and he looks like he's playing 90 minutes again, which is really good as well. In terms of the midfielders, it's Ahmad. He's got to be number 1. Murphy. Then it's Alanga. I just think Newcastle and United's fixture run for the next 8 or 9 games is better than what it is for Alanga. Rogers comes in at number 4. It's then Sarr, but I wouldn't be going near Sarr at the moment. And Paqueta is someone you should be keeping an eye on. He's definitely someone I'm keeping an eye on. He's only cost 5.7. West Ham need goals, and he looks like in the games that I've seen so far, I think he has scored the goal against Aston Villa in the Cup, and then he obviously scored against Fulham in the league. So he's just a player you should be aware of. He's on penalties as well for West Ham, and I think it's definitely a player that has taken my interest. In terms of expensive midfielders, it's definitely still Gordon number 1. Bruno's still in at number 2. I just like the fact he's on penalties. Eze's number 3. Gibbs White's number 4. Foden is number 5, only because of the fact that I don't know if he can keep the run going against the better teams. I'm not sure if City are capable of doing that. We'll just have to wait and see. It's one of them wait and see ones. And then number 6 is actually Kudos. I think, again, Kudos, like West Ham need people to be playing and scoring goals for him. So for me, it's just that's what it is. In terms of the forwards, it's definitely Isaac all day long. You've got to have Isaac in your team. If you don't, you need to just fix that issue in your team straight off the bat. Wood is definitely the second best pick this week. Jackson comes in at number 3. He's still in front of Mateta. And Raul Jimenez comes at number 5. Now, lots of people sit there and go, oh, Mateta's better than Jackson. No, he's not. If we have a look at forwards here, and we have a look at Mateta, like lots of people have been raving about him. And yes, he scored 2 goals in the last 2 weeks. And he had 1.1 expected goal involvement against Leicester, which is pretty damn good. But for the season, he's only scored 6 goals compared to Jackson's 9. And Jackson's had 5 assists compared to 1 for Mateta. Like, across the season, he's only 0.4 expected goal involvement as well. So, like, Jackson's got 0.59. The difference between them is now only 0.7 mil as well. There's no way in the world that Mateta is a better forward to own than Jackson. So, for me, I think I've actually got the best 3 forwards in the game. Other than the fact that if Haaland was like 9 million, I'd probably buy him, but he's not. He's 14.8, and to bring him in just wrecks the entire team structure, and I've got no interest in bringing him in. I still don't think he's in that good of a form. Like people that have held him, yes, you had a nice week in game week 20, game week 19, but other than that, he's still been bang average since the start of the season. Since game week 5, since he told Arteta to be humble, Haaland has had to be humble himself. He's been bang average. Definitely not worth 14.8. I think next season, we're likely to see Haaland priced significantly cheaper, just based on the fact that he hasn't been very good this season. So yeah, keep your comments coming in. In terms of other things that you probably need to look at, as I said, the fixtures in game week 33. So if we have a look at the fixtures, where are we here? So if we go to 33, whoops. So people are obviously wondering what games are going to blank in 29. So it's Fulham against Spurs. At the moment, that's going to be blanking because Spurs are holding a 1-0 lead. But I'm expecting it to be Liverpool-Villa that blank, which also affects how you think about your team at the moment. And at the moment, Newcastle hold a 2-0 lead, taking it into St James's Park against Arsenal, which means that Newcastle Palace will blank in 29. And then obviously, it would the other game that would potentially blank if somehow Arsenal score 3 goals, which I can't see happening myself. It'll be Arsenal against Chelsea. Now, if you look at game week 33 and do a little bit of forward planning to see whether there's a better week to play the triple captain. Now, for me, I'm still playing mine in game week 24. So in game week 33, it would be, if Newcastle get through, it would be Newcastle Villa and Newcastle Crystal Palace. I don't think that's better than Mo Salah playing Everton and Bournemouth in game week 24. And then if we have a look at Liverpool's fixture, they've got Leicester, which again, that does look pretty damn good on paper. And then it will be Aston Villa. So it'll be Aston Villa against Liverpool, Aston Villa against Newcastle, and then it'd be Liverpool against Leicester and Liverpool against Aston Villa. So potentially maybe there's a better week to play the triple captain on Liverpool like Salah because he'd have the Leicester fixture. But again, I think they're both... Let me go back to 29 really quickly. I'm pretty sure that Liverpool-Villa game is away. Yeah, so there'll be another 2 away fixtures. So you're not getting... I wouldn't argue that the Liverpool fixtures are any better than what they're going to be. Bournemouth and Everton, I would put on a par with Leicester and Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a better team than Bournemouth and Everton. But Leicester's obviously a significantly inferior team to both of those. So I don't know. I'm not sure. The away games, it is what it is. So in 34, we have no idea who's going to blank. But if we have a look at 36, like some of the fixtures that are here could be Man United, Bournemouth. Arsenal definitely going to be playing, so you don't have to worry about them. I mean, they might not. Crystal Palace could potentially win in the FA Cup through to the semi-finals. Just can't see it happening. West Ham obviously out already. Brentford out already. I mean... Even if the Liverpool-Spurs game got moved, like it is a home game, if they made the semi-finals, I'm just trying to think realistically who's going to make the semi-finals. Like Newcastle got Ipswich. That's a pretty nice fixture. And who have Man City got here? Man City got Villa. So like they're not amazing fixtures again. So if we look at the potential doubles in game week 36, it'd be Villa against Bournemouth, Villa against Man City against Southampton. Whew, that looks pretty damn good actually on paper. And Man City, Aston Villa. Liverpool would have Arsenal. All right, Liverpool's... If you're going to play it on Mo Salah, you're not playing it in 36. So, look, that's just something to keep in mind, 100%. So, that's what I'd be going there with that. But, yeah, look, I didn't actually cover what I got last week. So, 92 points last week. Top 17,687 I am now. So, pretty damn high up in the rankings. Hopefully, I mean, touch wood, I can get inside the top 15,000 this week. But I'm not 100% sure how strong the team is going to be. But yeah, look, that Ahmad 20 points came in huge. The Bruno Fernandes captaincy shout didn't go as planned. But other than that, it's looked pretty good so far. We might do the Squids predictions pretty soon for the game week because I'm going to put a couple of bets on this game week. I'm feeling lucky. But yeah, that's the team currently. I mean, Phil Foden is a bit of a risk as a vice captain, especially if Cole Palmer doesn't play. I mean, I wonder what the split's going to be this week. How many people are going to go back to Mo Salah against Brentford? I feel like quite a few people are going to go back to Mo Salah, particularly with Cole Palmer with the yellow flag. I mean, it's an ankle injury though. I mean, like ankle injuries, I played on ankles all the time. Like they're not that hard to play on. So I feel like Cole Palmer would be perfectly fine. And like he's obviously 100% going to play. So I don't know. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I mean, Ahmad's sitting on the bench, man. It doesn't feel good. I might make that transfer now. I might get rid of Cole now while I'm thinking about it before it gets too late in the piece. I think it's a move I want to make. Like Chelsea's run this season just hasn't been good. For your information. He's yellow flagged as well. I expect him to play. But I just don't... Like the fact that Chelsea have only kept 4 clean sheets all season is just disappointing. Like the average 1.39 expected goals conceded per 90 as well. That's not amazing numbers. And they just seem to concede a goal. Like they just switch off and someone does a stupid tackle and they give away a penalty. Or Sanchez just flaps and does something stupid at the back. Just not a good team to own defenders for, really. And none of them provide any sort of attacking potential. Like Colwell's attacking potential, 0.07 per 90. Across assists and goals. That's not what you want. Like he's not a defender that goes forward and has any kind of threat in the opposition box. It's just disappointing, that is. So yeah, I think he's probably likely to go before the end of this stream. Because I've got 2 free transfers and I don't think there's any I don't think there's a point of just making transfers willy-nilly, but if it's going to improve your team, there's no point holding them, especially when you've got another wild card to come. Like my idea is to play my wild card in 30, hopefully keep a couple of transfers free, because realistically, when it comes to the end of the season, like the assistant manager chip's going to be huge. And I'm one of those people that I will take a gamble on 3 different teams over 3 different weeks. And I expect that to be a pretty good play, and I expect it to come in. I expect it will make me a lot of points, especially considering I'm going to be looking at those teams that are in form that are 5 places below, and I'll just skip between which one I think is better, and hopefully I'll get one on the double game week. But I just don't know how many of them are going to be blanking, like realistically, and which ones are going to be in form, which ones are going to be battling for thing. It might be that I just play it on managers that only have the one. I mean, last year Oliver Glasner was the pick for Crystal Palace. I'm just not sure if that's going to be the case moving forward. But we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose, more than anything else. It's just one of them weird ones that we're just going to have to wait and see. Let's have a look at some of the other questions I have been getting in and see what people are saying. All right. Get Wood in. Yes, I like getting Wood in. I wouldn't be getting Wood in for Jackson, but I'd get Wood in if you had like someone else. I'd 100%. I think I've got the best 3 forwards in the game, currently speaking. I know Jackson's been underperforming, but yeah, that's why I think they're... yes, Wood is a good pick. What else are we getting in here? Who should I start and captain? Well, as I said, I'm captaining Cole Palmer. I don't know who this guy's got, so he didn't actually say. So I'm just going to tell him I'm captaining Palmer. All right, I think that's it. All right, that's all the comments come in. All right, what do we got here? Leo Hyde. Hey, what is your Optus Sport rank? My Optus Sport rank, Leo. Hello, welcome. Please smash the sub button if you can. My Optus Sport rank is 372. Pretty high. And actually, in my league, I'm second in our personal league. If you want to join the league as well, it's LDV6FK, LDV6FK. And in Man United, I'm up to 2,464. Australia, I'm 372, which is exactly the same as the Optus Sport League. There you go. So, yeah, pretty high. I can't believe there's 300. Who's got the most points in here? 1,525. Let's have a look. Cobb's on the job. He got 94. Last week, I got 92. And what's he ranked overall? Overall ranked 28. Holy hell. He's had a really good start. What's he played? Sometimes some people are in here because they've played like the triple captain. Let me have a look. Like, it's always like one of them weird ones when you're at the top. Like, you've always got to check because some people are at the top because of legitimately having like one of those seasons. Or they've played like everything. Like, all right, so he's played his wild card in game week 8, so that's fine. Has he played anything else? Because some people play it all at the start of the season. You've got to go back and check this stuff. Oh no, he's just having a great season. How good's that? All right, he's doing super well. Cobb's on the job. Harry, I reckon you're a lock to finish the season as number 1 in Australia. You're going to be hard to hunt down. What am I on? 1,423. Go back. What's he on? 1,525. I've got to make up 102 points. It's possible. I've got all my chips left to play. There you go. No problem, man. Happy to help. 372. It's not bad. Ideally, I'd like to get inside the top 100 of Australia-wide. That'd be nice. Over. What's the second chance league? Where did I start off on that? I must have been half decent in that. Let's have a look. Second chance, 227,814. Are you kidding me? 92. That's where I got 227. I mean, I stuffed up the Bruno captaincy. If I hadn't gone Bruno captaincy, I would have been absolutely loving life. Not bad. So I made 21 transfers. It's pretty good. Made none this week. Transfer history. Let's have a look at some of the dumbest moves I've done this season. Cunha in for João Pedro is definitely the worst transfer I've done all season. 100%. That was the dumbest 1 week trade I've ever done in my life. That was like just dumb move. I started the season with Murphy in my team. Like, that was unlucky. I thought he was going to be amazing. But alas, he wasn't. So yeah, this is the one here. So September the 3rd, I got rid of Kulusevski and Isaac, who were both dropping in price, and I got in Rodgers and Watkins for a -4. And I tell you what, that was the best transfers. It was 2 of the best transfers I've made all season. Diego Jota unfortunately had to go off for Mbuemo, but that was also a really good transfer. And Mbuemo made me a boatload of points before I inevitably got rid of him. I think I got rid of him on wildcard, actually. Let's have a look. I don't know. Where is Mbuemo? I don't know. We got rid of him afterwards. Okay. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, yeah, and I got rid of Alexander-Arnold, and I bought in Virgil van Dijk. There you go. Wow, some of these moves, I didn't even realise I earned Virgil van Dijk at some point. That's mad. For me, it's definitely still Palmer. I'm definitely going Palmer, captain. I'm intrigued to know what everyone else has put in. Just write in the chat who you're captaining if you're in there. There's quite a few people in there, so let's see what everyone's thinking. I mean, I even bought in Kelleher. That's right. I had Kelleher. I'm pretty sure Kelleher actually made me the most clean sheets of the season. When did I bring him in? I think I got sick of Raya. Yeah, I did. I got sick of Raya, and then I had Kelleher for that week. I had Kelleher for like 3 or 4 weeks. I forgot about that. I've wasted 4 transfers on goalkeepers this season. 4 out of 21 have been on goalkeepers. That's just ridiculous. I actually can't believe that. Egyptian King. Yeah. Egyptian King, man. Yeah, I don't mind that. Is Palmer starting? A max plug? I'm hoping he's starting. Look, realistically, I'm keeping Palmer. Where is my team? I'm keeping Palmer captain. And if he doesn't play, I'm putting my eggs in the Phil Foden basket. And if he doesn't play, it's a bit like last week where I didn't care if Isaac didn't play because I had Wood on my bench. I've got Ahmad on my bench this week. So for me, if Palmer doesn't play, crack on. Ahmad's coming in for me. But I'm expecting Palmer to play. I feel like Palmer's going to be like Isaac. Cheers, buddy. Make sure you sub as well. Plus, I'm a Liverpool fan, so yeah, fair. That's fair. Yeah, if you're a Liverpool fan, I understand that. I think that's where I got a little bit excited because I thought Man United might actually show up to play against Southampton. Alas, they didn't, and Bruno sucked. But being a Man United fan, I was very much excited for potentially what could have been, what might have been. Alas, it just wasn't that good. So it is what it is. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. This was one of them moments, unfortunately, where it didn't get lucky. But look, I had Ahmad anyway, and if you'd told me beforehand that Ahmad and Bruno were going to combine for 28 points, I would have shaken your hand and said, yes, thank you very much. I'd be happy with that. So, look, it's not bad. It wasn't brilliant, but it is what it is. And so at the moment, it's definitely Palmer. I mean, ironically, this stream for Game Week 21, I actively thought about making Phil Foden captain because I don't know, I just had an inkling he was going to return against Brentford. And ironically, if I'd captained Phil Foden, I've got 92 points. So it would have been an extra 11 points. I would have had 103 points. I would have cracked the triple figures for the first time this season. So yeah, that's just unlucky. Oh yeah, 100%. Cheers, man. Thank you. Let's have a look. All right, so yeah, let's have a look at the predictions for this week. So have a look at the fixtures. Where are the fixtures? So tonight it is Newcastle against Bournemouth in the early kickoff. I don't like captaining in the early kickoff. There's always something about it. Newcastle did actually all right in the early kickoff against Tottenham 2 game weeks ago. They obviously conceded. Hull obviously conceded blank. That was the week where Hull blanked, the only time in the last 6 weeks. Gordon scored, and so did Isaac. So they both returned, but they weren't massive returns. They were just, I think it was an 8 point for Isaac and a 9 point for Gordon from the top of my head, or maybe it was 7. I think Isaac got himself booked when he took too long to get off in the second half. Yeah, that's right. So we've got 3 games at 11 o'clock over here, which is the 3 p.m. kickoff in the UK. Brentford, Liverpool. So I think Newcastle beat Bournemouth. I think they'll probably win 2 or 3 goals to 1. I expect Bournemouth to score, which is going to be really annoying to blank my Hull points. But we'll see. Maybe Hull will get an assist or a goal. You never know. Brentford against Liverpool. I think Brentford score. I'm not confident at all with Alisson Becker getting me a clean sheet this week. I think that he's likely, because I think Fabianski concede as well. I think Liverpool win though. I think it's going to be closer than what people think. I think Liverpool might win this one 2-1. You're in Melbourne. Nice. So you're an extra hour in front. So for you, it's midnight tonight. Well, that's not too bad. It is a Saturday night. Yeah. Leicester against Fulham. I'm hoping Fulham keep a clean sheet, but I can see Leicester scoring this. Squid told me it was going to be Fulham 2-1. So I'm going to lock that in, 2-1. I think hopefully Robinson gets an assist. I mean, Fulham haven't been keeping clean sheets anyway, so he's got 9 assists for the season. Hopefully he can make it 10 against this one here. West Ham against Palace. I actually think West Ham are going to keep a clean sheet here. I don't know why. I feel like West Ham are going to win this like 1 or 2-0. That's why I don't really rate bringing in Munoz. Like, Munoz hasn't really come into my radar. Like, the next 3 weeks, I expect Palace to concede in all of the games. And yes, he's got a lot of attacking threat, don't get me wrong. He's not a very good finisher, though. I've watched him in quite a few games. He just doesn't finish very well. Arsenal against Aston Villa is the late kickoff. Apparently Saliba's out of this game. I still think Arsenal will beat Villa, and I think they'll lock it. I still think they'll lock it down. Like, I don't really like Villa are capable of scoring. It's probably going to be like 2-1 or something like that. That's why I want to start Timber on the bench. Raya, Gabriel. Yeah, I understand now why you want to bench Gabriel. I like that Villa team. Trent, Robinson, Hull, Salah is my captain. Palmer, Gordon, Isaac, Wood, and Jimenez. What do you think? And good luck. Yeah, I think that's a good squad this week. Palmer, Gordon, Isaac. Oh, so you're only going to play 3 midfielders this week? Have I read that right? So you're going to play a 4-3-3. Oh, yeah, I don't mind it. Who are your other midfielders, though, if you're not playing them? I always prefer to play midfielders over defenders because I just don't really rate defenders keeping clean sheets. And I feel like midfielders are more likely to get some sort of attacking return than a defender. Yeah, no, all good, man. You hopefully you have a good week. Hopefully it's another green arrow for everyone this week as well, with some luck. I mean, mine's getting harder and harder. The closer you get towards the top, the harder it is to actually get green arrows. So I'm not holding my luck. But you never know. Hopefully it's another week like last week, and then it will be another green arrow. But it's just one of them weird ones. In terms of the Sunday games, Everton against Spurs. I mean, that could be anything. Maybe David Moyes actually gets a new manager bounce against Spurs, because my God, Spurs are just. I don't know. Like, it's hard being a Manchester United fan, but my God, it must be even harder being a Spurs fan, because Spurs are just. They're very Spursy. When you think Spurs are going to do well, and this fixture on paper looks really good for Tottenham, they'll probably go there and lose like 1-0 or 2-0 or something stupid. So I'm going to actually lock in Everton to beat Spurs here, 1-0. I'm going to watch the goal rush. So I'll watch the Newcastle game against. I watch all the football, so that way I've like got a pretty good handle on who I think's good. So I'll watch the Newcastle Bournemouth game. Then I'll watch the goal rush, which I'm sure is going to be showing Brentford versus Liverpool as the main game. So I'll just catch the goals from the other ones. And then I'll watch the late game of Arsenal against Aston Villa. That should be a good game of football, hopefully. It'll be nice because I haven't really got that many of my team playing today. They're all playing later in the week. So I'll be on a red arrow tonight, 100%, because I'm not going to be captaining Salah. And Hall and Isaac I'm not going to be captaining either. And most people will probably have Gordon. And lots of people probably have a Palace asset, and I'm not going to have a Palace asset either. And I'm not going to be playing my Arsenal one. So I'm definitely going to be on a red arrow tonight. But then tomorrow I've got Man United against Brighton. where I'll have Fernandes playing. Everton against Spurs. I think Man United, I think this could potentially be a 1-0 or a 2-1. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. There's definitely not going to be an Ahmad hat-trick. The famous last words. If he backs it up with another hat-trick, I'll eat my hat. And then Forest against Southampton. It's just a matter of how many goals Forest are going to score. Can they batter Southampton and Chris Wood gets a hat-trick? I'm not sure. Like, Chris Wood's if you wanted a differential captain this week, Chris Wood is the pick. Like, the man scored a hat-trick against someone last season. I can't remember who. And he scored twice already this season against, I think it was Leicester earlier in the season. So he's got form against these crappy teams that are going back to the championship. So I wouldn't bet against him. And realistically, Chris Wood only needs a couple of shots and he's going to score goals. Like, he's got a shot conversion of 35% for the season, which is insane. Max Plug, how's my team? Sells, mate, definitely playing Sells this week. Yeah, I like that. Trent, Hall, Robinson, yeah, don't mind that. I mean, Trent, what do you have for defenders? I don't think Trent is going to keep a clean sheet, so you're relying on attacking returns for him. Salah captain, yeah, I don't mind that. Gordon, Ahmad, Mateta, Isaac Wood. Okay, you're also going you're going a 3-4-3. Yeah, I don't mind that. Mateta, Isaac Wood. Yeah, look, I think that's great. I think your team looks really good this week. Yep, we've got no problems with that. You should have a good green arrow this week, I would suggest, judging from that. They're decent teams. Decent team. In terms of the Ipswich Man City game, like, this is the weird one. Like, Ipswich Man City on paper looks like a really good fixture for Man City attackers. And Man City have been scoring goals. And being a Phil Foden owner, I am expecting a return. I'm not expecting another 15 points. But it'd be nice if he got another goal or an assist. And I could definitely see that happening. The only problem is I just can't see Man City keeping a clean sheet. Because they just find ways to concede goals. All right, what do we got here? You got Timber, Kirkes, and Enzo. Yeah, Enzo, definitely leave Enzo on the bench. He needs to stay there. Timber. So in reality, your team comes down to Timber versus Trent. Trent, you've got for the attacking potential. So I would probably play Trent in that case. Yeah, I think you've got it right. And I would have Enzo, Timber, Kirkes in that order on the bench. Do I start Delap or Gabriel or Pedro? Second guessing myself. Do I start Delap or Gabriel or Pedro? João Pedro's got Man United. I'm going to pull up a little stat for you in a second just to show you something about that. So Ipswich against Man City, I'm expecting Man City to win that pretty comfortably. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored 3 or 4. Ipswich probably get one back, so it's probably going 3 or 4-1. Nottingham Forest, I expect to keep a clean sheet. Of all the teams this week, that is the team where I expect a clean sheet in the game. I think that the other teams, everyone else could score against everyone else this week. I wouldn't be surprised if there's only one clean sheet, and it'll be Nottingham Forest keeping a clean sheet against Southampton. Chelsea against Wolves in the Monday night fixture. I think Chelsea will win that fairly comfortably, particularly if Cunha misses the game through illness. It also raises the prospect of them keeping a clean sheet. I just think Wolves will score a goal. Like, Chelsea just concede goals. So I think Chelsea will win that like 2 or 3 goals to 1. Any transfers needed? Allison, Timber, Munoz, Hall, Salah, Palmer, Mbeumo, Foden, Isaac Wood, Pedro, and 4 free transfers. Holy hell. Have you got any money in the bank? That's the key question. If you've got money in the bank, I would be getting rid of Pedro. I don't think he's a very good option. I was so glad to get rid of him for Wood the other week. That was like my favourite move of the season, was bringing back Chris Wood. I had Chris Wood at the start of the season for all that beautiful run, and the man made me so much money. He's made me 0. If I sold him now, he's now made me officially 0.5 million in terms of selling price this season, which is insane. What a man. What a piece of wood. 0.4. All right, so João Pedro, let's have a look. I think what I would do, I wouldn't do it this week, but you've got 4 free transfers, and next week you would have 5 forwards. What's João Pedro on at the moment? What's your selling price on João Pedro? Because he's gone down to 5.6 overnight. That's right. So you got 0.4. Ideally, what you would like to do next week, I would sell João Pedro for Wissa, but Wissa's 6.2. which means you'd need to make some money from somewhere. And that might be moving Phil Foden to Anthony Gordon next week. That could be the play next week. So Gordon and Wissa in for Foden and Pedro. That's what I would do next week. But I'd leave it this week. I think this week you'll be perfectly fine. That's what I'd do. Lots of people talked about Solanke. This man just doesn't get any bonus points, man. If you're not getting bonus points, you're no good. His underlying stats are pretty good, though. 0.47 expected goals per 90 and 0.06 assists. He plays 90 minutes every week. The problem is Tottenham is so bloody unpredictable. I mean, next week they've got the Leicester at home fixture, which does look really good. But the last time I said that, I bought him in for 1 week against Ipswich, and he sucked. Tottenham sucked. He sucked. There was nothing to like there at all. 5.6, probably selling Foden. For Foden, either Liverpool mid or Gordon. Yeah, that's fair. So I think I'd be leaning towards Gordon. I mean, like, all the Liverpool mids, the only one that gets me excited in the middle... So I actually looked at this week in my differential video, and... Where are we? Sorry, Liverpool. So for me, it's... as I said before, I'm thinking about Canate in defence instead of Robinson from next week, because potentially I can see a clean sheet there against Ipswich Town at home. But in terms of the midfields, the only person I like outside Salah is Diogo Jota. But I don't think he's going to be fit to start. Like, if there was a... Like, he's the player. 0.71 expected goals per 90. 0.09 expected assists. If he was fit, it'd be a no-brainer bringing in Jota. But the problem is he's not. Luis Diaz, when you look at him, his minutes risk is just so... I can't get excited about Luis Diaz. He'd be someone I'd just sit there and go, is he even going to start either of these 2 games in the double game week? I guarantee, you'd almost think, judging from this, he's going to play a maximum of 120 minutes based on his minutes for the season, which isn't... I just wouldn't be doing it. Like, 70, he's actually dropped so much in ownership as well. I just don't rate him. Like, I really don't rate him. The other one that is interesting is Sloboslai. Now, Sloboslai, I don't even know how you say his name, but this bloke, he could be interesting. But again, he's a bit of a minutes risk, but when he's played, he's looked pretty good. And his stats for the season is 0.29 expected goals, 0.21 expected assists. And he's had some big weeks. So he obviously had the 10 against Southampton, the 17 against Tottenham there. Like, he is a player potentially that if he's fit and available, well, that's another thing. He's been a bit like non-available as well, I think, from what I can work out. 1.5% ownership as well. Like, here's another play that you could make in terms of the midfield from Liverpool. I'm just not sure. Yeah, I know. The problem is like Luis Diaz, if you look at his numbers for the season, what's he on? 0.39 expected goals per 90, 0.13 expected assists. Like, they're not horrible numbers, don't get me wrong. And he's got 8 goals and 3 assists for the season, but most of them were at the start of the season when Liverpool were banging form. Like, Liverpool in such hot form to start the season. Arguably, if you have a look at their form so they had 1 draw and 1 loss in the first 13 weeks of the season. Since game week 13, they've had 4 draws and 3 wins in the last 7 weeks. And they're drawn against Newcastle, Fulham. I mean, the Tottenham game was... Tottenham scored 3 and they scored 6. I mean, the only really good game they've had in that space of time was the 5-0 against West Ham, where Lopetegui was like his second last game in charge. So I'm not convinced that Liverpool are in the best form, but you would expect them to get the job done. And they're still scoring goals. Like, if you go back through the season, they're scoring goals across the season. I don't think they've had a game where they've scored less than... Well, they've scored in every game this season, except the Nottingham Forest game where they lost. So they're averaging, I think, what is it? Like 2 goals a game, maybe just over 2 goals a game. So there's going to be goals, but most of them be Mo Salah. I don't know. I'm just not tempted by Luis Diaz. I think I'd be more likely to go for a Gapco. But then, who do I get rid of for him for next week? Like his minutes look a bit better. For the season, he's 0.32 expected. So he's actually got less expected goals than Luis Diaz, but more assists. So 0.2 expected assists per 90, whereas Diaz is like under 0.1. So like it's a hard one. I don't really know. I want another week. I want to see how Liverpool play again this week. If they don't play the best against Brentford, I'm not sure where I'll go. I could very much just go to Canate and be really boring. But I feel like potentially that Ipswich game and that Wolves game scream clean sheets to me in those 2 weeks. And like I've got Becker. I'm not willing to bring in Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he's just a waste of money, to be honest. But yeah, I'm quite happy to do that. And provided he stays fit, provided he starts, plays a good amount of minutes against Brentford tonight, I think it's a player I like the look of. 5.1 mil as well. It's such an easy transfer from Robinson to him. I really quite like that. All right, on that note, I should probably do the transfer I want to do while I'm thinking about it. So Nottingham Forest, let's get rid of Colwill. Do I really want to do it though? That's the question. I'm not 100% sure that I do. I mean, Colwill's just got no points. Since I had him in game week 12, he got the Aston Villa clean sheet. Well, I'm pretty sure I benched him that week anyway. I definitely had him for the Everton game. He was definitely on my field that week. And Fulham, let's have a look what he's done in my team this week. I just don't want to, he's literally my 5th defender. Do I really need to be wasting a transfer on a 5th defender? I mean, when I've got the team value I've got, maybe I can afford to do it and I'm just overthinking it. Yeah, I think Man United made him look good, to be fair. That's what I'd say to that. I feel like Man United made Southampton look stupidly good. All right, let's have a look here. Any last minute things in here? I'd like to comment. Okay, mate. Do you captain Isaac or Salah? I would actually captain Salah over Isaac. Normally I'd always prefer to captain a midfielder over a forward. There's just more chance of more points. You get a clean sheet point potentially, you get extra point for a goal. And most of the midfielders this season have been absolutely popping. If the midfielder scores this season, they generally get bonus points as well. So that's something else that I've quite enjoyed. Yeah, this is true. I don't know. I just think Nottingham Forest defence is so good. Like, in reality, it's either Colwill starting, Timber starting, or it's Milenkovic starting. And Milenkovic just seems the best out of those 3 this week. Particularly now that Saliba's out for Arsenal, that means I'm definitely more likely to keep Timber on the bench. Because I just think that Villa will score against that back line without him in there. That would be my thinking anyway. But long term, Nottingham Forest this season have kept 9 clean sheets. That's way over double compared to what Chelsea have done. And who have they kept them against? So clean sheet against Wolves, Everton, Tottenham, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, Southampton. Against Southampton earlier in the season when they were away. So this was away at Southampton. They conceded 0.14 expected goals against Southampton. Against the crap teams, Nottingham Forest shut them out. Generally speaking. They obviously conceded against Leicester there, but that was away. But all these games at home, where's their home games? So home game against Bournemouth, they didn't keep a clean sheet. Wolves at home, they didn't keep a clean sheet. That's interesting. Fulham, they didn't keep a clean sheet, and that was at home. Palace at home, they did. West Ham at home, they did. Newcastle, they conceded 3. Ipswich at home, they kept 1. Villa at home, they didn't. Tottenham at home, they did. Everton at home, Everton away, and Wolves away, they did. Liverpool, they conceded once. Jimbo the Daddy, hello buddy, how are you buddy? Hey, do you know Wolves, Sarr, Enzo and Palmer start? I would expect Palmer definitely to start. I've got him as captain, so 100% I think he'll start. Will Enzo start? I mean, they're all listed as knocks. Just because they didn't train doesn't mean that they're going to miss the game. I feel like of all the three of them, Sar's got hamstring tightness, and I think hamstring tightness is perfectly fine. I've played with hamstring tightness. It doesn't stop you from playing. It just means you probably play a little bit within yourself, which may affect his points returns. Of all the three, I'd expect Enzo probably be the most likely to miss out, only because of the fact that Chelsea got so many damn players that could potentially play his role. Whereas the rest, I think, and maybe Sarr could miss out as well. But yeah, if you've got both of them, I wouldn't be too concerned. I feel like at least two of the three will definitely play. And then it doesn't matter what the other one does, because he's probably going to be on your bench anyway, I'm guessing. But yeah, Enzo's looking like a worse and worse pick from week to week. Like, his numbers have really gone down of late. But yeah, I think Milinkovic is the play. I mean, like, the clean sheets are there. When you look at Colwill, he's done absolutely diddly squat. Like, he's got nothing for me since I've had him. But, like, it's one of them weird things, like, I'm wasting a transfer. Do I really need to waste a transfer to do it? Like, Milinkovic next week. I think the reason why I want to do it, yes, the next 3 weeks after this one may not be the best, but they have Ipswich in 29, which I'm very aware of, and I don't want to be free hitting in 29. And then after that, it's actually a pretty good run for Forest through the rest of the season. Like, Man United at home, probably they might concede. Villa away, they'll probably concede. But Everton at home, highly likely to keep a clean sheet. Brentford at home, Leicester at home, West Ham away. Like, a lot of these, there's strong potential for clean sheet. Also, Milinkovic is about as good as Gabriel from set pieces and corners. Like, 0.14 expected goals per 90 just seems really nice. Like, he compared to Aina, like, lots of people considering, is Aina a better pick? Well, Aina's had 1 goal, 2 goals. He scored 2 goals for the season. His attacking data is way less. He's obviously played every game this season as well, which definitely helps. He's probably got better underlying bonus points as well, judging from what I can see here. So, like, either or, I just think that it's no point paying up an extra 0.5 for it. Would you do Sada or Langa? Yeah, I know. So, like, for me, it's like an easy just get rid of Colwill and just do it, I reckon. Would you do Sada or Langa? It depends on how many transfers you got. I know. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, if I just do it now, stuff it. Like, Colwill's not going to turn around and start getting the clean sheets and stuff it. I reckon we do it. I reckon it's going to be a good move. Then I can play him against Southampton. You never know. Milinkovic could get a 15-pointer, score against Southampton from a corner, and then I'm like, that was such a good move. Like, Colwill is definitely not going to score against Wolves. And then he probably scores when I move it out. And Nottingham Forest probably concede twice to Southampton tonight, knowing my luck. But, yeah, I just think that it's a good move. It's even like one of them ones when it comes to wildcarding in Game Week 30, I potentially might even bring Sells in for Becker. But Becker will be staying until our wildcard potentially at this point. But, yeah, I think that's definitely a move I'm going to do. I've got 2 free transfers. I like using them. I've used them all season. I just feel like Milinkovic is a good move. It's either that or I can bring in Murillo and save 0.2. Like, Murillo's made... So between Aina and Milinkovic, it's 12 points. Between Milinkovic and Murillo, it's 5. Nico Williams, for me, is still a bit of a concern with Alex Marino. Like, Alex Marino's played 1 minute against Liverpool. And then the last time he started was against Man City in Game Week 14. But he had a run there where he was starting instead of Nico Williams from Game Week 7, that's Game Week 6, or Game Week 4 probably, through to Game Week 14. So that's 10 weeks. Nico Williams may not be 100% confirmed. I'm not sure. Yeah, I know. It is going to be like that, isn't it? Murillo's like, there's not much difference. Like, if you look at the numbers, like, Murillo's got far less threat from corners. He's only scored 1 goal compared to Milinkovic's 2, which is not... It's one extra goal. Whippy. It's an extra 6 points from a defender. But I just think that Milenkovic just looks like one of them people that just bosses stuff. So for me, maybe that's where I go. And like underlying bonus up here, like Milenkovic scored his back-to-back goals when they blanked here against Man United and Villa or whatever it was. I don't know. Just seems like a good move. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like 0.2 mil. I can definitely do it. Like I can afford it. I just love bargain hunting. 8.6. I mean, like compared to Munoz, like I did consider bringing in Munoz instead. Hold on, where is he? I need to get out of that. Go to defenders. The only problem I've got with Munoz costs exactly the same amount, but he's got 67 points for the season. Like, unless Munoz gets a goal or an assist, and look, he's got the same amount of goals as Milenkovic and 1 extra assist for the season, but he's got 5 clean sheets compared to Milenkovic's 9. So for me, it's like, are you basing on the fact you want the clean sheets? Because if you want the clean sheets and you're expecting it, that's why Milenkovic is on 85 points and Munoz is on 67, which is a total of 18 points. It's not like heaps and heaps. But like Munoz has already been suspended once this season for yellow cards. He's been booked. Well, he's obviously had the 5 yellow cards. Milenkovic in comparison. Oops, let's get rid of that. Milenkovic has had 2 yellow cards for the season. So that's also something to keep in mind, that Munoz, if he keeps going, and he does, and the way he plays, because he plays so high up the pitch, he quite often does that yellow card foul because he's out of position. So I think that's why I prefer Milenkovic. But I've had Robinson, Kirkes, and Hall, and Timber, because they're the fullbacks, more likely to get assists. I'm just not sure. I'm not 100% sold on it, which is why I'm so hesitant on doing it. But I've got to start. I've got 12 minutes to figure it out. I've got 12 minutes to like decide whether it's a move I want to do or not. Also, I've got to think about whether I keep the vice captaincy on Phil Foden or play it a bit safer if Palmer is out. I really do expect Palmer to play. Wolves at home, is it better than Brentford away? That's the question. It's like one of them weird ones. When Salah blanked, I was like, oh yes, here we go. And Palmer only got 10 points. I was like, Bruno's going to come in big here against Southampton. And then he did absolutely diddly squat. So it could be another one of them weird ones where potentially that might be the case. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sold on it either way. But I think potentially that's what I might do. All right, stuff it. Let's do it. Make transfers. Lock it in. Milenkovic is into the team. All right, let's adjust the team selection. All right, so Milenkovic is going to start against Southampton. Robinson against Leicester. Hall against Bournemouth. Happy with that. Becker's going to start over Fabianski. Kirkes and Timber. I still need to switch that around. Save that. I still think Leicester's more potential. Yeah, I know, it is. I was like sitting there, I was like going, there's more likelihood of Nottingham Forest delivering me more points from that position. And he rotates really well. Like, I know that game week 29 game with Ipswich, that excites me. So that's one less worry I have to worry about. So Robinson at the moment, at game week 29, he's blanking against Spurs at the moment, but he's not going to be in my team, I don't think, by then. Hall will definitely be blanking. Timber's got Chelsea in 29, not amazing. And Bournemouth have Brentford at home in 29. That's a fairly decent fixture for Bournemouth. I don't mind that one. So that's my 3 defenders covered there. I don't have to worry about the rest. So I think for me that's right. Yeah, I know. It is very spicy. I'm just concerned, do I change it or do I keep it? I mean, like for me, I just want someone that does it later in the week. That's why I've got Palmer doing it, because like Monday night, I don't know, I just got something about like Monday Night Football, getting up to watch that at 4 o'clock in the morning with Cole Palmer as captain. I think he'll definitely play. I mean, if he doesn't, Phil Foden, I mean, imagine if he doesn't play and Phil Foden gets like another brace. I'm like, oh, please, man, just someone kick his ankle, make it bad so he doesn't play. It is one of them ones where it's just going to be like a matter of waiting and seeing, really. But I'm hoping that I've got it right. There's no guarantee that I've got it right, but I'm certainly hoping that I've got it right. Also, it's been good. I've gone up another 5 subs during the stream, so that's good. So hopefully people are enjoying it. Thank you to all that have subbed. I'm closing in on the 500 mark, which is a milestone in and of itself. I didn't actually think at the start of the season I was going to get above like 200. So the fact that we are closing in pretty quickly on 500, I've gone from like 200 to 423, I think I am now, super quickly. So that's been nice. So hopefully people are enjoying this shit. Oh, yeah, mate, you could tell you what, I was sitting there when in game week 21, when I had Chris Wood on the bench, I was like, can Isaac please not be available? Can he please just be injured? Like, it's weird, like, hoping a player's injured. Like, FPL is one of them ones where you just got to sort of roll with it. Like, some weeks, like, I had a pretty good week. Even though I stuffed up the captaincy, it still worked out really well. Like 92 points is really good. I don't even know if that's my highest score for the season. Hold on, let's have a look. We can check that, can't we? Game week history. So game week points, 92. Is that my highest score for the year? I think it is. Yeah, 91 in game week 3. So I've been pretty consistent. Since I wildcard in game week 12, I said I want to average 70 points. So if you have a look since I wildcard in game week 12, I've got 88, 78, 70, 52 was disappointing, 86, 63, 62, 72, 92. I'm well above 70 average since I wildcarded in game week 12. So I think I nailed the wildcard. I think that's the point to be had here, that I haven't used a boatload of transfers since. I've actually rolled quite a few times and then made 2 transfers in one sitting. Next week, potentially, could be 2 transfers in 1 week. Like I might use my 2 free transfers. So next week, it might be that I get rid of Phil Foden and bring in Anthony Gordon, depending on what happens against Ipswich. I mean, if Phil Foden returns with another brace, there is no way I'm selling him with Chelsea going to them. Like, Chelsea concede goals. Phil Foden could easily return a big score against Chelsea as well. So, like, it's one of them ones where if he does really well against Ipswich, he gets another week. And like, I've been saying that since I had him against Everton. Like, against Everton, I was like, oh, the 1 week play, 0.85, and he got me 2 points. Wasn't good. But then I was like, I'll give him another week. Then he returned against Leicester, only played 65 minutes. But then he scored against West Ham, and I was like, all right, he gets Brentford. And he scored twice against Brentford. I was like, well, he's getting Ipswich. So if he scores twice against, or gets another decent return against Ipswich, and matches Anthony Gordon again, he's probably staying for Chelsea at home. Maybe not against Arsenal away. That's a different kettle of fish. I mean, like, from 24 to 27, I don't really want Phil Foden in my team. So it's like either this week and next week, or it's Anthony Gordon next week against Southampton. That's what it is. All right, Hassan, how are you? Start 2 out of Mbeumo, Ahmad, JP, or Kanade. Mbeumo and Ahmad. Easy. Mbeumo and Ahmad for that one. Easy question. João Pedro's, really quickly, if we have a look at João Pedro's stats in terms of expected goal involvement of recent times, there's a reason why he's dropping in price. 0.25, 0.82, 0.3, 0.2, 0.16. He hasn't been really involved for quite a while. Now, Danny Welbeck might be starting, and then João Pedro might be a better option, but for me, it's Ahmad and Mbeumo. Mbeumo could easily get a penalty against Liverpool. Nick Snedden. Hazard had an awful season once and was still priced the same. Yeah, I know. That's weird, isn't it? You would expect if someone has a crap season, they'd go down in price. So if Erling Haaland's at 15 million next season, I can tell you what, I ain't buying him. I'll take him on happily. I mean, Man City will probably be better next season. I feel like they're having one of them seasons because they've won everything. Like, they've won 4 in a row. They've got all these charges hanging over them. I think once the Chargers and the Premier League decide what punishment they're going to give them, we'll see a different City. I think till then, I mean, Pep looks shot as well. Like, he just looks Pep looks out of form. I think that's why City are out of form, if I'm being brutally honest. Hey, look at that. See, it is possible. So game week 11, 4 million rank. As I said, I don't know when you played your wild card, Liam, but like, if you play your wild card, I was 169,000 and I played my wild card in game week 12 and now I'm in the top 18. But like, it's hard. Like, you're going to have weeks where you get red arrows. Like, and I'm expecting red arrows 100%. But Eve, hello again. Start João Pedro or Rodgers. Well, Arsenal apparently are meant to be missing Saliba tonight, which means that Rodgers could be a better option. But Man United concede stupid goals. I mean, and VAR love to give penalties against Manchester United. I'll just put it out there, and João Pedro's on penalties. So based on that, I'd probably still lean towards starting João Pedro. That's what I'd say to that. I'd probably start João Pedro, just based purely on the fact that he is taking their penalties at the moment. All right, you got 3 minutes left to make any moves and lock in your teams. I should probably quickly check that I have locked in my team and I'm happy with it. I am going to take it. I'm going to risk it. Phil Foden is going to be the vice captain. I've decided. I've had it like that since about Wednesday. I'm happy to roll it. All good, buddy. Thanks for joining at the end. Yeah. Phil Foden, definitely happy. Stuff it. I mean, the man delivered 2 goals against Brentford, and I feel like Brentford's a much harder game than Ipswich. Wild card to game week 7. Oh, you've done well then. That's really good. Did you bring in the double Arsenal fence in wild card 7? I bet you did. That was such an unlucky move. Like, it looked so good on paper, and they just delivered no clean sheets at all. It's frustrating. Frustrating. Having owned Raya for that time, Raya got me 1 clean sheet the entire time I owned him, and I owned him for like 7 weeks. And then I was like, stuff this. Kelleher's keeping clean sheets for Liverpool, and I bought in Kelleher. Probably one of the best things I've done all season. Also, ironically, it's actually just, I've just realised how dark it's looking on the camera. The sun is setting in Kalgoorlie. There you go. Also, I think my sleeping pattern's finally right. I actually had the best sleep I've had since I got back from the UK on Tuesday. I actually slept for like 8 hours overnight. And I actually slept from like 10 p.m. to like 7 a.m. or something like that. But woke up a couple of times. Oh, okay, you done well then. Only having Gabrielle, that's good. Yeah, I think that's the team. Locked in, locked and loaded. Surely Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson's got to repay the faith, man. Like, I have held fat with this guy. He's started every single week and delivered nothing, really, except that Brentford game. And obviously he got an assist with his standard yellow card. Against Wolves, he needs to deliver a massive haul. I want to see him go ham. Like, that Wolves defence is not good. Nicholas Jackson owes me like a bloody hat-trick. The worst mistake was losing Salah for the... Oh. That is unlucky. You know what the weird thing was? At the start of the season, I said the best draft, which is probably why I'm sitting where I am now. I had Salah and Haaland at the start of the season, and I nailed it. I got the captaincy so good. I even changed it to when Salah beat... I had Salah captain the first week of the season. Then I swapped it to Haaland for game week 2 and 3. Was love and life. Then Salah had like that blank against Nottingham Forest, and another week where he only got an assist. And I looked at the run of fixtures and thought, I'm getting rid of Salah. So I actually got rid of Salah. And if I'd actually got rid of Haaland at that time instead of Salah, I would probably be inside the top 1,000. But it's just one of them ones that sometimes it goes well. But thankfully, I moved Haaland on. I assessed it really early. I was like I think I got rid of Haaland in game week 8, maybe, or 9. I didn't hold him for that long. And then I was like, there was only so many times you can captain someone and they get 2 points. You're like, stuff this. I'd actually got rid of him, I think, before the Southampton game even. So I didn't even see him for that. I was like, I can't handle this. It's costing me too much money. And Salah was getting all those points. So I was like, it was a really good switch to get rid of Haaland. And I took a -4 to do it. So when I was looking at those transfers I did before, it was like Haaland out and Salah in, and I just burnt a -4 to do it. And it felt really good because Haaland blanked. And Salah popped off straight off the bat, and he was captain straight away for me. Yeah, I know, that's it. Like, it's like one of them ones. If you can predict the way things are going to go, like with a player, you make so much rank. Like, that's just how it is. If you jump on early, you can see it. That's why I like try and watch as much football as possible in order to give accurate opinions about what I think is going to happen. That's why I still think, like, having watched a few Liverpool games of late, yes, Salah probably should have scored once or twice against Nottingham Forest, and that is a hard team to score against. But I just think that Palmer is definitely the better captain. All right, so it's locked in. It's 7:01. It's 100% Palmer captain, Phil Foden vice. Pretty happy with the team, how it looks. We're going to go to FPL Challenge now and see how it went last week really quickly, and then I'm going to end the stream because I've actually got to get somewhere for 7:15. Oh my God, I did so bad last week. Holy shit. 28 points. That's a disgusting effort. Oh, mate, I thought Harry Maguire had been with Man United. Oh, that's right, he started on the bench. Ah, okay, that makes a bit more sense. Okay, that's disappointing. All right, that's just, yeah, all right, that didn't work. What's the next week? Surely it's got to be better. Restricted budget. Budget is restricted to 25 million. Spend wisely. What? All right, well, you want a cheap goalkeeper then. Sells is going to start in goal, 5 million. How cheap are the bloody defenders? Hold on. Let's have a look. Defenders. Oh, so I want a 4.5 million defender. Nico Williams has to be the player. Like, Williams is only 4.3. It's going to save me some money. 4.3. 15.7 left, and I've got 3 more players to pick. You can't have 2 forwards. Can you? I don't know. Who's under 5 point? To go under 5.8. I'll get rid of that. Who have we got? Raul Jimenez against Leicester. He looks pretty good. Holy, this is not a fun week to do challenge. All right, Raul Jimenez. It can't be another forward because that's not going to work. So it's going to have to be 2 midfielders. How much money you got? 10 million. How much is Tyler Dibbling? All right, midfielders, let's have a look. All right, we'll just change this to 5.2. Jacob Murphy could be interesting, but then you need a 4.9. Souček against Crystal Palace. That's actually a really good shout. Smith Rowe, Hudson-Odoi, Thomas, Jorginho. I'd love to have Ahmed in, but Ahmed's going to be too expensive for this. Anderson, Adamson could be all right. Wilson against Leicester. 5.2. How much is Souček? 4 point. All right, I can't do that. I'm going to have to go Murphy. That's it. And Raul Jimenez is captain. I feel like Sells probably is a better captaincy choice. Nah, stuff it. Raul Jimenez is going to get a penalty against Leicester. There we go. That FPL challenge sucked. All right. All right, on that note, thanks for joining, everyone. Thanks for subbing if you're new and all that. And hopefully good luck in Game Week 22. Hopefully it's another green arrow for everyone involved. And I will see you all Monday. Tomorrow night, I'm actually going to do a reaction stream after the Man United game because I'll be watching it. So I'll do one of them. If you feel like dropping in and we can talk all things that's happened over the first 8 games. Sounds amazing. Otherwise, have a good weekend. I'll see you all a little bit later.